We'll now convene regular session, and we will move into number 3.02, approval of the agenda for June 22nd. I'll entertain a motion that we approve June 22nd agenda.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimous. 3.03, please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. 3.04 and 3.05, I'll entertain a motion that we approve the May 18th regular and executive session minutes.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimous. We're now at the portion of the program for public is the opportunity to address the board. I'd like to read this statement before we begin. School board welcomes the opportunity to hear from the public during our public comment session at the beginning and end of each public session. Members of the public speaking as individuals or a member who represents an organization will be allotted up to 3 minutes. As per board policy BDDH, in order to comply with the First Amendment, the board will not entertain protracted public comment within the favor of or against the staff member. If a speaker makes defamatory statements or invades the privacy rights of a student or employee, speaker is responsible for such statements and may be held liable. We thank you for adhering to this policy when sharing public comments. Dr. Owens.
Thank you. First this evening is Officer Ken McLaughlin, Town of Ocean View. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Chief McLaughlin from the Ocean View Police Department. Just back again this year. First, I want to thank you for your support of the school resource officer at Lord Baltimore Elementary School. Happy to report we had a wonderful year this year at LB. A little bit busier than normal. Some of you might have heard about that. But it was a good year and it was a safe year, most importantly. We have submitted our request for funding for the upcoming school year, and we're hoping that you will entertain that. I did send everybody out an email. I hope that you got it. Just a little recap of the SRO activities that took place this past school year. And I just want to let you know we're here tonight again to thank you and look forward to continue to work with you to keep Lord Baltimore Elementary School safe on the upcoming school year. And I'll be here tonight, and our town manager, Carol Houck, is with me to answer any questions that you may have when the SRO items come up on your agenda this evening. Thank you.
Officer Evan Rogers, Town of Millsboro.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Evan Rogers. I'm a lieutenant with the Millsboro Police Department. Chief Moyer would be here, but his son's graduating from Army boot camp. So he asked me to come in instead. And just wanted to represent our department in regards to the SRO program. We've been partnering with the district for several years now, and we feel it's just been a wonderful resource to the greater Millsboro area. And like Chief McLaughlin said, if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to go over them with you. If anything I can't provide answers for, I'd be happy to relay them back to our chief and have them get back to you. So thank you very much for your time and partnership.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief Ralph Holm, Town of Georgetown.
Good evening. Similar to my predecessors, I just wanted to come up and thank the school board for supporting Georgetown's SRO program in Georgetown Middle, Georgetown Elementary, and North Georgetown Elementary, which happens to be the site of our junior police academy that's going on as we speak this week. we want to continue this partnership and let you know that we appreciate the generosity that you give us when you fund that position because it allows us to dedicate an officer to those schools as opposed to having officers randomly come to address issues that happen at the schools. And sometimes that by itself is not the best way to handle the case. The SRO, Ashley Mellis, is well indoctrinated into those schools, those kids, and the staff that she works with there. So I just want to come here tonight and thank you for that partnership and hope we can continue. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Donald Hattier.
All right. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with the board this evening. Back in 1967, my father gave me a book called How to Lie with Statistics. When we start looking at statistics, it is generally assumed and mandatory that the databases be the same. Otherwise, we're comparing apples to oranges and peaches, delicious fruits, but they're not the same. From what I can tell a few months ago, there was a speaker a few months ago using data from a group called NAEP. Considering that NAEP does not test all students, 36% in fourth grade, 43 in eighth. Further, our local principals tell us that the NAEP has a tendency to test special needs kids at a higher rate than average kids. Could that skew the test scores? You decide. Now, NAEP makes an interesting statement on their website. Score gaps. In 2024, Black students had an average score that was 22 points lower than whites. Basically, somewhat down from 1998, which was 28. Hispanic students had an average score that was 18 points lower. It was 15 points lower in 1998. In 2024, male students in Delaware had an average score that was lower than that for females by 13 points. In 2024, students were identified as economically disadvantaged, had an average score that was 24 points lower than that for students who weren't. That gap is the same from 1998. These disparities, by the way, hold true for whatever test methods a person might use. So if we're in a state that has, say, 20% Hispanic statewide, and our district has almost 40% on average, would that affect our test scores? The so-called Mississippi miracle is happening in a state with 5 to 6% Hispanic. The Mississippi demographics are not remotely comparable to Delaware's. NAEP does not break down the performance by district either within Delaware. Anyone looking at SAT or Smarter Balance scores in Delaware shows that IR is higher than average in most areas tested. From looking at the NAEP, you would never know. Moving on to testing done in Delaware separate from NAEP. Delaware is one of 15 states using a test called Smarter Balance. The other states have more or less designed their own. No one makes the statement that these tests are testing for the same thing, nor are they remotely comparable. Comparing the data is meaningless between these test methods. Your database is totally different. Many states only test the top 10% of students. Delaware tests everybody regardless. And when I was on the board, you remember I complained about that constantly because you cannot compare them. Any state that tests all its students is going to be lower than those that test only high achievers. Please don't get the idea, though, that because a student doesn't test well on any quote unquote test means the student can't test in life. Some people just don't test well and don't want to.
Seconds.
All right. Summing up, if a person wants to make a point using statistics, at least make sure all the databases are the same. Otherwise, it's just an exercise in lying with statistics. Thank you for your time. And by the way, off the record, off my time, I think you guys are doing a pretty decent job. You're working hard in a difficult circumstance. And personally, I appreciate the heck out of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And last signed up, Mr. Mark Steele.
Introduce myself, but I think we know each other. I wanted to take the opportunity and I wanted to say some good things because sometimes I don't think we do that enough. And back in April, I was sitting in the meeting, we were talking about a referendum and the comment was made, that, we're admitting failure. And I let that ride for 2 months. And I thought about it because I thought the worst thing I can do is stand up and say, something I shouldn't say. And I've thought about it, and I've done a lot of work, a lot of investigation. Thank you to some of the people at IREC. I've asked a couple things if you could find for me, and you've done that. But I want to talk a little bit and tell you, as an old man, which I'm 67 years old as of last week, I can say just about what I want to say. And I'm just to that point where I am. I've always been that way. And sometimes I think sitting in the chair up there hinders that. But I'm going to talk a little bit about, the NAEP. We've heard constantly about the 42 to 43%. I called Mike Lingenfelter, and I talked with Mike Lingenfelter in detail about the NAEP. Because to be honest with you, I know a lot about it. Even as a superintendent, didn't know a lot about it because that was the one test nobody really did anything for. They stop into your school, the feds. They pick out so many kids in the 4th grade. They pick out so many kids in the 8th grade. Generally speaking, they say they try to get it to match your percentage of breakdown of students. I did, and Mike did inform me. He said, now look, I asked my principals this year. And they took an abnormal high number of special needs kids. Now, how many kids are we talking they test? They tested 400, or about 30 or 300 out of 842 4th graders, which is about 36%, and about 44% of 8th graders, 400 out of 900. And when they do this test, they stop into school and they take these students out and they'll have laptops for them to test on or whatever. I'm not sure about accommodations. Some people said they don't always get accommodations unless they are written specifically as using them. I don't know for sure. But I will say, when you report out, remember this, and this on this number is the most important thing I can tell you. Delaware reading, according to that, it's about 43, 44% 4th grade. Can't remember that number. But here's what I can tell you standing in front of you. Nobody knows how Indian River did. We could have blown the lid off the NAEP. You know something? We'll never know. How did LB do compared to Philip Shao? Georgetown Elementary compared to North Georgetown? We'll never know. Because the federal government does not give us that data. They give us a number. Delaware, you're at 42 or 43%. You're at 42% in 8th grade reading. And that's what they give you. So be careful.
You have 30 seconds.
How much?
30.
Okay, real fast. SAT. If you look at the SAT scores and compare these along the same principle, let's take a look at the top 10, really almost the top 20. They only test in the 2025 rankings, they only test 1 to 6% of their tier 1 top students. And when you see the rankings come out and you see Delaware way down there, number 48, guess what? They're down there because we test everybody. So now they put an asterisk there. So let's go back and let's take Indian River High School because I have their data. Let's see how their top 6% compares to the 6% and 1%ers in the top 10. North Dakota ranked number 1, 1254. Mississippi tested 1% of their students, 1223. Montana tested 5%, 1205. Indian River School District tested 94% of our students. The top 6% of students at Indian River High School in 2005 scored a 1282. That's above number 1. In 2026, we got, and this was this last year's data, 1265. Drop. I want to bring that to your attention, folks, because we did something last year as a board. You need to understand. We cut 10% of our staff. And my fear is that we're going to see, if we have to cut staff, we're going to see numbers go down. Now, I volunteered to go into a 1st grade this year, and I want to tell you how evident this was to me. I went to my daughter's 1st grade class. I volunteered for half a day. She has immersion, 1st grade, John M. Clayton. 25 kids in one section, 24 kids in the other. They took the dibbles. Kelly Dorman, I know you're in the room. You would stand up for a minute. Kelly Dorman has really pushed our new reading program. And it's working. I'm telling you, it's working. Because her beginning of year dibbles and the end of the year dibbles fell into this category. 49 kids tested. The only kids that were well below were our ML kids, our very first time to school ML kids. There was only one kid that wasn't ML who was in the below status. Everybody else that she taught was meeting or above. In that classroom, I'll tell you what I saw. One teacher having 4 of her lowest kids over here in the reading group. The other 21 kids were spread around the room in these little things, the little activities that they could try to do. No other person in that room with them. Again, remember, we cut 10% of our staff. Pam Webb, very, very top-notch principal in our district. Kelly Dorman's assistant, many years, told me something at a committee meeting 2 months ago. If you want reading scores to go up, put a para with a kindergarten teacher and a first grade teacher, and your scores will skyrocket. So multilingual learners, ML learners, they're low. Guess what happens as you go down? 8th grade, they catch up. 12th grade, they catch up. And in closing, I'm going to tell you this. When you hear this list of schools, remember, Sussex Central and Indian River students all got accepted. Boston College, Syracuse University, Villanova University, Penn State University, University of Colorado, University of North Carolina, West Virginia University, Wingate University, Harvard University, Columbia University, Brown University, University of Penn, Duke, Georgetown, Emory, Northwestern, Washington University in St. Louis, Rice University, and it goes on and on, University of Notre Dame, United States Naval Academy, and United States West Point Military Academy. Also, a vast number, University of Delaware, Wilmington University, and Delaware Tech, to the tune of 3/4 of our graduating seniors in this school district are going to go to college or to a career prep school. So I don't look at that as failure, folks. I can't take it. It's not failure. That's success. And that's factual success. And if we keep doing with our surveys what we said we were going to do, and if we can get the public to support us, I'm telling you, there is no doubt in my mind in 2 years, this school district will be the best school district in the state of Delaware. Thank you.
Mr. Mann, anyone signed up online wishing to speak this evening?
Not online.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move into new business 5.01 school choice applications.
Thank you, Mr. Steele. Within board docs is our 2026-27 recommendations. So these are students enrolling for next year. You can see the total acceptance is 39, decline is 3. Happy to answer any questions on your spreadsheet this evening.
Jay, just a question on boundary change. That's
Yes.
when they're.
So we redrew lines
Yes.
last year for Sussex Central Middle and the feeder patterns. So we said at that time we would honor students that were currently in our system and the students coming up to that kindergarten year. So what you're seeing is we're honoring that after this year. Now, the students that are already in our schools, they will be able to maintain in those schools. We didn't want to disrupt them, but moving forward with the next incoming class, they will need to attend or apply to school choice in the area in which they attend or would like to attend. So that's why we wanted to include those this evening as well.
Any other discussion of school choice? I'll entertain a motion that we approve school choice for 26-27 school year.
So moved.
Need a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Unanimous. 5.02, 2026-27 annual DSBA study.
These are the annual dues. You'll see that DSBA has attached a document for your review, 12,790, and you'll see how the breakdown there for the number of units within our district, 862.77. So this is a fee that's been assessed annually by DSBA. And many of you here have attended some DSBA events or part of their legislative committee. And that's part of the access you get. We, as superintendents, also rely on DSBA. A lot of work that's happening in Dover, and we're being advised on that as well. So again, this would require board action if you want to continue as part of DSBA, Delaware School Boards Association.
I'd like to make a motion.
Well, I have a question regarding this. So so it's almost $13,000 for dues. So I do think we really need to, and I know you've related, and I've heard here, what we get from that, but is there a way we can get this like really broken down? Like, what is it that we get for almost $13,000? Like, what training is there? What feedback do we get to the board? I think, we get some reports, but are we taking action on any of these things? Like, how does this translate into a true benefit? So I would say, if there's no rush, I didn't see a timeline on this. If we could get some more information from DSBA on what it is that we get for our dues and what it is as a district that we want to see out of this before we pay $13,000. Because this is money that, we could spend in the classroom. I would just like to, I'm not saying it's not worth it. I just want to just break it down a little bit more and see what we're getting for our dues.
I'm happy to get that for us.
Also, Dr. Owens, where does this money come from? From what line item on the budget?
We do have a line item for board,
Board,
so it
so this
comes
comes from
from that, yes.
We're not taking from any student services.
It comes right from the board.
That's just about wait before
Part of the due,
balance
Right.
completely out almost.
part of the dues also pays for our subscription to board docs. So,
Yeah, so that would be great to know.
Yes.
Don't know.
and
So maybe-
also there's some emergency communication software that it funds too.
So I'll get a complete listing of that and bring it back.
Okay, thank you.
We're gonna table that and
Yeah.
get some more information.
If we're going to bring that back, I do need a motion to table 5.02.
I'll make a motion to table that until we get more information on.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Haven't we in the past had Mr. Tall, was it one of our organizational meetings where he come in and spoke to the board? We could also probably have him, if he's available, to come in and speak.
I can check
Good
that.
idea.
Very knowledgeable.
Okay, I have a motion to table 5.02. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimous. 5.03, 2027 athletic ticket pricing. Furman, I believe you're here this evening.
This is our second proposal to the board after we've gone through the finance committee twice and a board review. So I was here to ask, I guess if you guys were there to vote, if there's any questions, if there's something, if this is something we want to move forward with.
Did we make a decision on what we're doing about seniors and charging seniors?
That was we left this up to the board to make that final decision. Mr. Parker and I left the proposal how it is, allowing you guys to make that final decision. To be honest with you, I didn't feel that was just the decision I wanted, we should make.
I knew we discussed it, but
I looked at, I have my here, and I might be the only one, but in looking at it, not that you've done a wonderful job. I know that our purpose is to increase some of the athletic revenue that's coming in to offset some of the expenses that incur. But I looked through it and I'm not sure that we're completely clear on it. I know I'm not, because you have the different, like we have individual seasonal passes, then we have recommended family pass pricing. Then we stipulate in the family pass would be 2 adults residing in the household and 2 school age kids. Well, that's not always the case. And, and there's more, and or it's 1 adult and 3 school kids, or 3 adults and 1 school kid. I cringe at, and I don't have to do the findings inside of it and don't have to do the reporting on it, but I wonder if we can go back and fine tune it enough so that our schools can put those tickets that I would assume, and I know that's dangerous, but we must be gonna have to color code them at some point, because how would we know if I have a family one or if I have an individual one? And then if I have a family one and we don't all come in together, how were those? I've read it and I just had several questions on it, but if everybody else is okay with it.
I can
don't-
answer, I can answer that quote. What our plan was is to have the pass, when they come to purchase the pass, currently they write their name, we write their names on it. So the same process would happen, but there would be a line, whether it was a seasonal pass, a yearly pass, and they would be purchased from the school of that student. So a Sussex Central student wouldn't come to Indian River to purchase their ticket. It would be purchased through their office. And then it would be labeled as what it was.
So now, and correct me if I'm wrong, but now I believe you can buy your tickets at central office.
Okay, so the current process is if you buy a season pass, that is good for any school in the district, any event in the district. So you go to a middle school game, it's $75 for a family of 4 is the family pass, or it's I think it's $25 of individual. Looking at these numbers, we realized that people were just getting a ticket and they could go anywhere they wanted. So we're looking to try and capitalize and gain those funds first versus other schools that do the similar thing. And those funds come back to the school.
And that's one of my concerns as well. My child is grown. But if I were a parent in the district and I had 4 kids, 3 kids, 2 kids, whatever, they're not always going to be in the same school. So that means then I'm going to have to either buy a season ticket, but I only go for whatever sport they play. But I'm going to have to buy it at 2 different schools because I have kids in 2 different schools.
We actually there should be a proposal in I call it's like the feeder or a multi-school where they could buy a pass for, let's say if it's Sussex Central Middle, Sussex Central High School, they could buy that pass and would cover both schools for that family. I'm pretty sure I included that one. And there's the same thing for like at Selbyville Middle School and Indian River High School, or Georgetown Middle School and in Sussex Central High School, because looking at that's normally where the kids, you very rarely do you see a kid that goes to Selbyville Middle School and then another one goes to Sussex Central. But that's something that could be worked out too. And I think I've put a caveat in there that we could still work with parents as well.
So by the same token, if it's at Sussex Central and at Indian River, both high schools, then you're looking at 2 different prices, which.
That would be a very, very different situation right now, because we see very, very rarely do we have that anymore that I'm aware of. There may be a few, but that would be something that would definitely we could work with that individual. But I'm not aware of anyone right now that has one at each.
No, I'm not saying that they have 1 kid in each school. I'm just saying as a sports person, if Indian River was playing whoever and you wanted to go see that one, but your ticket was bought at Sussex Central, you're only there, your ticket that you bought, you can only see at Sussex Central. You can't go to Indian River.
Did we still keep the district pass in there? Yeah, there's actually a pass that you could purchase if you want to go to all events in the district.
Yes,
Uh,
I understand
Yeah,
that.
I tried to collect as many of those different awkward things that we could, but at the same point, we could work with people on a certain individual basis to make it up there, for them.
I think that was my concern as well. It seemed like to be a lot of passes depending on certain things. Personally for me, I was hoping to get a little bit more time so we could tweak this a little bit more to try to make it easier, because the last thing we need to do is to bring this out and have a lot of confusion in the community. We need to make sure we got it streamlined. I say, look, you don't have any problem with the concept. I think the concept's got to be done. We've got to start doing what other schools are doing. I just want to make sure that we do it in a manner that it is not confusing to the parents and the grandparents and the family and friends who come over, and that are going to buy those. And I don't want to price it out of their comfort zone where that they can't afford it.
We did try to bring originally the prices were much higher. We did bring them into to my opinion, a more affordable situation. If you're purchasing just a season pass now, like so for a fall season, because we do have families, they don't have children that play in the spring or winter, but they're getting, that way they would have a pass for that fall season, and that would be it. And if they want another one, they could buy, however. But I agree, I understand where you're coming from. Just trying to put something together, knowing that we are separate. Our district is separate. We have 2 pretty one big line kind of separates who goes to what events. So I was looking at how can we best involve everybody in those certain areas.
Where do most of the parents purchase the season passes or the
The
tickets?
school that their kids attend.
Okay, that's what I figured.
Mhm.
So that's pretty straightforward. I think what we need is something user friendly and easy for them to understand, because this is a little confusing to me.
I get
I'm
it.
trying to follow everything and I'm reading this. And I think I'm all about this. I think it's wonderful because we need to move forward. But I think if we fine tune the things we've talked about, it will definitely help everybody understand.
Mr.
So then
Steele, if we don't miss the deadline, I'd like to make a motion that we table this and work out some more details.
I tell you what I think. I think we need to spend a little bit more time at July's committee. And you and Chris both can go through it. And again, I think we need to streamline this as much as possible because a lot of parents, it's going to be new to them and they're used to paying that. I'm not sure what the last cost of the season pass was.
75 for a family.
75 for a family. And, we just need to make sure that we've kind of got all of our angles covered on that, because last thing we want is to have a huge football game at one of our high schools and have our ticket people very confused on, well, does this get in or does this not get in? We just have to have it. We have to have it so it's easy to understand. And I will say this, I have no issue with the concept. I think the concept is something we probably need to do 10 years ago. And I think now it's a point, Tom, that we're going to have to.
Now, if I could, the part with the student ID being their student entry into their event at their school, we did put that in. So that any student that attends the school in our district can go using their student ID, can attend events at their school. Are you okay with that part?
I don't have a problem.
I mean,
Is
That's
it
got
just their
standard.
school or is it?
just their school.
So they could only, Indian River can only go to Indian River, but they couldn't go to Shelbyville Middle.
That would be theoretically, yes, but then
Okay.
we,
I got you. I think this is why we have to have a little bit more discussion. Now, if we get this through July, pass it in July, that's enough time to get everything ready to go.
July, yes, we should be okay.
So will we be still doing tickets at, where? IRAC? Will they still be doing?
No.
it?
That was something I know Mr. Parker was saying, was kind of inundating his staff with people coming to purchase tickets there. They would go to the schools, or we would have like open houses. We have places for them to purchase those.
So they have to actually go to the school.
Yeah. Or to an event at the school. And like our first football game, home game, or first events, we would have someone there providing that, like we do now. We actually do that now. We're trying to cut out too many people, hands in the pot, try to keep it a little, as you said, more streamlined to the school or to the events.
And it may be streamlined now. I just need to go over it one more time, I think, in a smaller setting before I make a vote on it. I just think so. We have a motion to table until July. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to table 5.03. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimous.
So I can ask one more quick question about the 65 and older. If you could give us a recommendation on that prior to the next.
Yeah, I'll give you a
committee meeting.
recommendation. Yeah, I don't think we should discriminate on age, so I think 65 and older should be included in the regular ticket pricing. I'm not opposed to any discounting, but I don't think we should be offering free tickets. We're struggling to pay for uniforms, and I know those grandparents would be more than willing to help contribute to uniforms, whatever else is needed.
Any other people have discussion on the 65 or older?
Didn't DIAA used to give it free, or was that the district?
The district.
Okay.
Up until currently the district, any 65 and older is a free pass.
What are other districts doing with that?
It's all over the place.
Okay.
Some give them free, some charge them a discounted rate. That was why it was kind of hard for us.
I understand.
Our discussion was we were going to, instead of changing what was already occurring, but we're open to either way. I just wanted to.
All right,
Good idea.
if we can discuss that at the committee meeting as well. I can see both ways. I'm across the line and, but you know what, I just, it should be a reduction somehow, probably, if we do it. But I think we can do that, discuss that in July, to give us a chance to, sometimes when you ask people, if we up the prices, what would you do? you get a little feel about how things would go.
That's fine. So we have an idea of moving as we get ready to prepare and update this.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for your time.
Maybe both ways.
Thank you.
Do it both ways.
Okay,
You've
thank you.
you've done a great job, and
Excellent.
Mr. Parker, so have you on this, and we're definitely going to act on this in July.
Thank you so much.
Moving on, 5.04, 2026-27 proposed school meal prices.
Mr. Toomey, welcome.
Good evening. On your board docs, you will find the proposed meal prices for the 26-27 school year. I'm pleased to recommend that student and adult platter prices remain unchanged. If approved, this will mark 21 consecutive years without an increase to student platter pricing. However, based on mandatory USDA non-program foods calculator data from 25-26, we must increase the price of 3 a la carte options to maintain federal compliance. To satisfy the tool requirements with minimal impact on families, I'm recommending increasing both snack categories by 15 cents and ice cream by 25 cents. The proposed price changes are as follows. Tier 1 snacks increase to 90 cents, Tier 2 snacks increase to $1, and ice cream increase to $1. This recommendation requires a motion and approval of the board.
Have any questions or any discussion?
No, I just don't know how you did this by keeping prices the same for 21 years. I think that is absolutely amazing, and it must have taken a lot of creativity. I really applaud you on a job well done. I think we need to let our families know what an incredible accomplishment this is. And we're only raising them because we're required to by federal government standard. So well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'd like to make a motion to accept.
Do you have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimous.
Thank you.
5.05, Indian River High School Delaware Community Foundation donation.
Thank you. Some of you were present at the recent committee meeting where we heard from a representative from the Delaware Community Foundation, which is managing a large donation to Indian River High School from an anonymous donor in the amount of $45,000. The donor did indicate that they would like the funds to go towards the advancement of STEM activities, and they've worked with the school on that. The proposal now is to explore the cost of a greenhouse, which is the next item on the agenda, hydroponics greenhouse. We did hear from some representatives. I know Mr. Revel and Mr. McCabe are in the audience today. While they're not at not at Indian River, they are at Sussex Central and able to provide some insight in the level of STEM activities that do occur within the ag program. So we appreciate your insight on that. Mr. Williams is not able to be here tonight. He's in Minneapolis with the unified basketball team, which did win by today. So we're happy to hear that. But I'm happy to answer any questions. I know Mr. Parker can answer questions as well. And this does appear to be potentially ongoing donation from this anonymous donor alumni. So this is the starting point here. And again, 5.06 will give us some additional information, but donations of this magnitude do require board action.
So the amount is 45? I thought it was 75, but
Can you verify, Mr. Parker, the amount?
it's 45. And this is to build a greenhouse?
I believe the
Or-
donation was specifically just to go towards the STEM activities in the school, right? Was it?
That's correct. And the
Yes.
STEM wanted to move forward with a hydroponic greenhouse.
Hydroponic.
This is just accepting that donation this evening. They need to then explore the cost of those greenhouses.
Oh, so we're not accepting building a greenhouse, we're just
Mhm.
accepting the donation.
Just the donation, yes.
I was at a committee meeting, those of you who were there, we looked at some things that are going to be coming up for Sussex Central and Second Indian River, and these are great CTE programs. The fact that we have somebody donating such a large amount of money is, these are the sort of things that help our kids who want to go to college and the kids that don't want to go to college. and want to go to the workforce. It's going to give them a background that's desperately needed. So, I think this is a great move for the board to make this evening to approve this. Do I have a motion?
Motion to accept.
Second.
I have a motion. I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
So, can we have a discussion?
Oh, I thought
So
we had-
I'm
sorry.
still confused because it's on the agenda, it says the Indian River High School hydroponics greenhouse that we're accepting.
No, that's
not.
505, 506.
505.
Oh, we're
Well,
on 505. Oh, sorry. Sorry,
I was in the right place for once.
I was wrong. All right, thank you.
Okay, so I do have a motion and I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimous. 5.06.
Mr. Dooley, I think you were going to give us an update on that. I do believe we have actually the Sussex Central hydroponic building. It is not a greenhouse. It is a building attached to 5.06. So we'll try to get that rectified here, but can you stick with 5.06, and that's the Indian River High School's greenhouse?
Yeah, I think this is a little redundant from the last 5.05. So on board docs is an outline prepared by Indian River High School Principal Mike Williams that was presented at committee. The outline describes a donation from the anonymous donor coordinated through Delaware Community Foundation, with the designated usage being math and science education. The donor indicated that the funding will be renewed annually. IRA is proposing the installation of the greenhouse to support hands-on learning in science, STEM, CTE programs, and to incorporate hydroponic growing systems with the ability to scale capacity over time. Subsequent steps include IR continuing to meet with DCF to develop a more formalized plan for this greenhouse to ultimately bring back before committee and the board for approval. So I was going to ask for permission to get for the IR to get permission to move forward with using the donation for its intended purpose. I think you just did that.
Correct. So those attachments actually go with Sussex Central. We'll hit that in a second. There really doesn't need to be any attachment for 5.06 because we do not have any greenhouses to recommend tonight. So we wanted to bring it to the entire board to move forward with looking into the costs of greenhouses for that particular donation. And we separated it out. The donation needed approval first.
So Dr. Owens, after those prices come available, then that will be presented again to the board, correct?
Correct.
Yes. But we don't need to take any vote at all.
We can move forward with it. I don't think it's.
No.
So do we need to discuss the oyster building renderings?
5.06, we're gonna bring it back in 50.06. I'm guessing that this is going to be the Indian River or the Sussex Central High School hydroponics. Is that correct?
We'll get that in at 5.09, and those attachments are correct. At
Okay.
5.09.
So move on to 5.07.
Yes.
Sussex Central High School football uniforms.
Yeah, so these were also discussed during committee. You can see the mock. They do meet the color requirements and they do have the American flag. There was a discussion at committees whether this would be athletic funding, building funding. I did confirm with Dr. Carter today that these would be paid for out of their booster funding, would not be their school funding. Booster funding.
Now, in the one uniform, the white one, it shows the Delaware flag. Is that normal?
Correct. They do have the Delaware flag on some of their uniforms.
Okay.
Yes.
I just hadn't seen it. I was just wondering.
If these are on as discussion items, do we need to move them to action items?
We have a D and an A, so they can be action tonight if you wish.
Okay. But the boosters are covering the cost and there's no cost coming out of the athletic or the school budget.
That was confirmed by the principal today.
In the finance committee, it says it was coming out of the athletic budget, but you updated and
Yes.
confirmed.
Okay, I'll take a motion. Anybody have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we accept this based upon that it's being paid by the boosters for Sussex Central High School football uniforms.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor in a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Passes unanimous. 5.08 Sussex Central wrestling uniforms.
Again, with wrestling, they were presented at our committee meeting. They also meet our color requirements. American flag on the back. And again, I confirmed today that these would be purchased via boosters as well.
Yeah, need a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion to approve the purchase of the wrestling uniforms. I have a second. All those
Stipulating that they come out of booster.
that they come out of booster monies only. Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimous. 5.09 Sussex Central High School Agriculture Building.
Okay, with us are Mr. Dooley again, Brad Cowan from RYJ, and two members of our ag department, and these are the correct attachments. We've discussed the oyster harvesting program that we are getting off the ground at Sussex Central, so they just discussed that at committee, and we'll go a little further this evening. Thank you all.
So there's sufficient major capital improvements funding to provide for an oyster harvesting agriculture building at the Sussex Central High School site. Sussex Central program representatives are here tonight to outline the program, and then Brad Cowan will outline the cost and details of the proposed building. Mr. Rebel, Mr. Gabe.
Well, thank you for having me tonight. So I talked a little bit about this program last week or last month at the committee meeting. So this program kind of got started, UD and Del State kind of came to us with the proposal, or actually they came to basically any schools that would accept it because they were wanting to grow the program. So we attended the first couple meetings, became very interested enough to the point where we actually started the natural resource program, which is what I teach. And now we've continued to work with them. We have a great partnership where they're going to kind of help guide us, which can kind of help with us, getting kids to college, starting some research projects that they may continue into college. For those that maybe won't attend college, some training that kind of get into the aquaponics, aquaculture field, which is currently growing. When this kind of started, we weren't even ranked in the top 50 of states that produce aquaculture. And as you know, there are 50 states, and now we're all the way up to 42nd. So it is growing just within the last 5 or 7 years there. So this would kind of really help boost that. I think this would be a great opportunity for the kids to kind of really get to understand what aquaculture is and kind of this area around us, what can really be done with that water that they see all the time, but maybe don't know what they could do with it.
Yeah, I'll just add that this gives Chris and that pathway the opportunity to kind of have that end the pathway or even during the pathway hands-on moment that students really are able to take kind of the classroom education they have and then move on to that hands-on area, and that really starts to click and really starts to help them obviously then obtain either employment in the summer, obtain employment upon graduation, really get interested in it, moved into post-secondary college, and then go on from there. So it really gives the opportunity to kind of grow that pathway that we need. The building wise is designed, and you can touch on that more, is designed to match the other buildings that have built out there on the farm.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. And thank you for the prelude into that. We did meet with Brandon and Chris out on the job site, and we did some preliminary numbers for the building. The building will be very similar to the ag and maintenance building that is there now, with the both color and the makeup. The size is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be smaller. It's a 20-foot wide by 60-foot long building. It'll look identical to the ag and maintenance building. And we looked at the site work, the building itself, building a stone road out to the building, include mechanical systems, which are 2 split systems. We also had domestic water out to a small hand sink in the building, and also the electrical service that would handle the the lighting, the code required receptacles. We did not include a bathroom in that facility to save a little bit of money because there is a bathroom both in the ag building and also in the maintenance building, which is directly behind it. So we wanted to be frugal with the money and the budget, and our current budget for that building is $350,000. So we brought this to the Building and Grounds meeting last month and also through the executive committee, which I believe was last week. And there was very positive feedback. And we did, Brandon and Chris and I and our superintendent Ian met out there again to see what we could do. And we came to the conclusion that the building, as it originally positioned, was in the far back corner of the field. If we can move that building, which we have done now, move it closer to the ag and maintenance building, the domestic water runs and the electrical runs will be much shorter because the building will be directly behind the buildings that are there now. So there'll be some economies of scale there that we're going to look into. So we're looking for approval to move forward to fine tune that number a little bit and come back to you next month with real numbers. So that's what we're asking for this evening. I think it's a great program. Our company, RYJ, we're currently building a aquaponics building for the University of Delaware in Lewis, right by, if you're familiar with there, near the windmill, and they're very anxious and look forward to working with Indian River School District on a very exciting future for this program. So we're asking for that approval this evening.
Yeah, so just to reiterate, the request for consideration tonight is to move forward with this building using major cap funds.
So it's $350,000 and we have the funding for it in our budget because I think we have 900,000. So do you know what the expected annual cost will be to continue to run the building?
I don't have those numbers. It would be, are you talking electrical and mechanical?
Yeah, anything. I don't know what's involved with, oyster aquaponics.
I don't know but I do know, and you guys can talk to this better than I can. I know the pumps and the machinery run off regular 12 volt, 120 regular house outlet. So there's nothing major, no major components of pumps and other items in there that would draw a lot of electricity.
Do you have any comparisons to make of like existing aquaponics labs and like knowing what their annual or their monthly costs would be?
I do not.
I mean, that would be good to know before we buy something, just know what's going to be costing us in addition to the 350,000.
Maintenance building that you have now.
Would it be? Because I don't know, like aquaponics, I'm envisioning tanks and bubblers and I don't know if that happens.
Well, I don't know what the components would be in there, but I don't believe it's going to be that.
So if you mean electrical, obviously I wouldn't have that amount, but when it comes to the students are going to be doing the work with the systems under the supervision of the teachers, and 509 funds and Perkins funds can be used to support the equipment. But electrical, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, and I'll jump in a little bit. As he said, it's all gonna be just pumps that are 110 volts. So we're looking at 2 to 4 pumps probably that would be running. These 110 volts be running at something like the toaster and things like that would be running. I can't give you a dollar amount, but it's going to be minimal. It would be less than, I don't know, less than your garage in your house probably.
Okay, so it's not like running an aquarium?
No, not that size. We're talking small pumps just to generate, oxygen in the water and a little bit of circulating. Yeah, I mean, a pool, less than a pool, probably.
I think if you sum up, the power is our big cost. So if you sum up the power that's being used at the existing school, Sussex Central Middle School, Howard Ennis across the street, and the 2 ag and maintenance buildings, this adds very, very low amount of power to that total bill.
Okay, so you're not expecting it to be a large ongoing price?
Correct.
And then the only other thing I would ask for, one, I think is amazing. We're bringing oyster, aquaculture to this area because this is what we are known for and have done much more in the past. So I think this is amazing that some of our students could go into this field. What I would like for us to do, and we did talk about this, is tracking how many students go into marine science or local, oyster harvesting. And I've heard that we don't have a really good way of tracking that. But if we could move towards that, like you said, working with the labor department or contacting parents if we can't get in touch with the students. So if we could get a no kidding system in place that we can track how successful this is, because I think that would be huge as well, where we could say to the community, we're doing this and so many of our graduating students are going into these fields and contributing back to the local community. So if we can have a tracking system ready to go, I think that would be great.
I'm not gonna be popular for this. I'm a daughter of a farmer. I love agriculture. I love the idea of this. But for a 20x64 pole barn to be $350,000 just blows my mind. I don't understand. It just seems astronomical to me, and I just want to put on record that that just seems like an exorbitant amount of fun for a 110 cement slab, 20x64 pole barn, but that's all I'm gonna say.
I would agree. I would totally agree without a bathroom.
Yes, without a bathroom, without a kitchen. I mean, I can build a house. for
talking
that. It just
basic.
is crazy to me, but
And I think in playing off of what Dr. Parsons says, I think this is newsworthy. I mean, I think it's awesome. But I think we do need to think about sustainability of the program, and where the kids go would be great information to track for keeping up with the program and seeing where the kids, how it pays off. I guess that's the word I want.
Yeah, if I could talk on that, like I said at the committee meeting, I've been in meetings with Dover with this student success plan, SSP. We've had it in back and forth, different kind of levels of it. In my career, I'm starting year 17, and they're trying to revamp it. And like I said, working with Department of Labor. The problem is that once these kids graduate, we can't contact them. We don't have their phone numbers. We don't have, we can ask for them, but we don't always get them. The Department of Labor is working with DOE, it seems like for the first time really ever. And they're going to be able then to pull their social security numbers and be able to run this type of data in the years in the future after, I think we're talking maybe not next school year, the following one, that this new SSP would go into effect. So it looks like we'll be able to track a lot better just from the Department of Labor. We certainly can try to when kids graduate. We build great relationships with these students. When they graduate, we try to get emails at the very least or phone numbers, often ones we've helped place into careers. If they don't end up going to 4-year degrees or trade schools or stuff like that. So we can get some data, but to get the full picture, it's just hard because, we're only limited to contact them in certain ways. But I think between us, with the relationships we built, we can start that, we can have that. And then hopefully with the new SSP that Department of Labor and DOE is getting, we should be able to get a better picture of that within the next 3 to 5 years, hopefully.
Yeah, my question, Brad, I'm going to ask you this question. Because I just got finished pricing a whole building about a year ago. And I have to ask, why is this building cost so much money?
Well, the square foot costs are very similar to the ag and maintenance building, but we're governed by the state of Delaware prevailing wages. You have electricians making $80 an hour base wage. Their packages with their insurance and everything on above that are well over $100. Site contractors, $65, $70. Carpenters, $70, $80 an hour. These are real numbers. I mean, we can't change those wages. Those are real numbers, and that's what your high school was built with. Those were what the pole barns were built with. Unfortunately, yes, those are the numbers. And when you start breaking all that down into hourly wages, that's what they are. And the materials today are out of sight.
So are you saying it's going up to 350,000, or it won't go above that?
Won't
It
go
may
above it.
be below it.
Won't go above it. I was asked to provide a budget. I reached out to our contractors who are currently on site finishing the work. Those are the numbers they came back with. And I think we could find some economies by moving the building a little bit closer to the other buildings and find some other ways to save some money. But we're guided by the state's regulations with wages. And the materials are going up and up and up and every day.
Do you have that proposal broken down? Like maybe we can see it, like maybe we can review that first to see what the costs are.
Complete transparency. They give us a complete breakdown of the building. The building itself is almost $100,000 just for the building, including prevailing wages. And it's very similar to the ag and maintenance building. Those are 60 by 80 buildings. They were 300. I think they were $300,000 just for the building.
And then maybe we can see your proposal on how to track success of the program. with the students and what careers are going into, like what your plan is to track the success of it?
Yeah, I'm very, and personal relationship with the kids, you know. As they graduate, we've helped them do as Ryan League in certain places.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know how much that we can do as teachers. I think that would fall upon Department of Labor and Department of.
Well, I guess I would just like to see that your plan in writing and just see what the plan is.
Okay.
So is this something that we can, again, table until we see their proposals, or do we need to act on it now?
What is your starting point on this program? I'm sorry,
Oh, what do you mean starting point? Like,
were you planning on implementing this in September?
yeah, so this is my third year. So my current group of level 300s, I've been telling them for 2 years, you know, that this hopefully would be happening. So yeah, I would love to start it as soon as possible, especially for those kids that have taken my first two levels really kind of without a lot of that hands-on, you know, that true kind of like end of pathway experience. I mean, we've done as best we can, like, you know, with other things that fall under the umbrella of natural resources around the farm, around the school, things like that. But yeah, I would really love to have this ready to go in September, or at least sometime this school year.
So
Well, it would be, we would need to come back to the Building and Grounds Committee, the Executive Committee, and back before the board with the final numbers. If we could do that in July, then we would be able to cut everything loose and have it built during the month of August. It might leak into September a little bit, depending on schedules of contractors, but that would be our path forward and our goal.
So finance wise, this is paid for through the referendum and the funds that are left over. When they said it's funded by major cap, it's not the major cap normal budget that we have. If I'm right, it's the ones that comes back through
Construction fund.
the referendum on there. So when, you know, the selling point has always been with Sussex Central, well, look at the school that you have, look at the grinds that you have, look at all the, where the money got spent before. In this case, just to me personally, it's the fact that you've got a lot more students involved in a program with this caliber than you do with some of the money we spent on things that are specific to me. So I will make a motion that we proceed with having Mr. Brad Cowan and R.Y. Johnson present back to us the final figure and what it entails.
So basically table this until then.
No, I'm saying move forward with, because if we table it now, we're
gonna be
basically
close.
approving.
I agree.
Right.
I think we all agree the program is great. We want to definitely enhance what you're already doing, which is outstanding. And I think that's the question we're having is the amount of money we're putting out to have this building. That's what I'm hearing.
So my motion will still stand that we move forward tonight, knowing, and I hate to put you on the spot to say that, but knowing, according to Mr. Cowan, that it will not exceed, and if you think I shouldn't say that, that's fine, $350,000. I don't want to put it there, but I want us to be able to move forward so that we can get something going.
Yeah, you know, if you move forward and direct me to get final pricing, then I will get final pricing.
So then.
And I'll bring it back
that
before
would be
this
for
whole,
getting final
you know,
prices.
the Building and Grounds Executive Committee and the board, and then it's your decision.
There you go.
And we'll be happy to provide all the detailed breakdowns from all the subcontractors and materials, whatever you want to look at.
Then I would just like to,
We'll have that information.
then I would just like to amend that motion and that we add that you give us a written plan of how you plan to track the success of the students as
That
well.
would be through the.
That's not,
department.
he can't do,
I
he's a
can't.
contractor, so that
I
would
just
be,
build it.
that would be some stipulation we
Yes.
put in the program.
Well, it's all kind of one. They're all standing up here together and we're,
Yeah, but that's like, you tell, I'm buying a car from you and then you tell me what size garage you want. I don't have anything to do with the garage. I'm just selling you the car.
The motion's on the building.
Yes.
That's the motion, and that is what is on the agenda is the building. the program, I think we can come back and request that.
Okay.
But we need to put it in a different action item on next month.
Yes.
All right, I have a motion on the floor to
I'll second.
approve this. I have a second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed?
No.
No.
Please poll the board.
Mrs. Briggs,
Yes.
Mr. Cathell,
Yes.
Mrs. Klein,
Yes.
Dr. Parsons,
No.
Mr. Peden,
Yes.
Mr. Steele,
Yes.
Ms. Taylor,
Yes.
Ms. West Warner,
No.
Mrs. Wright.
Yes.
That is 7 yes and 2 no and 0 abstentions.
Motion passes, majority vote. I do want to say, Mr. Cowan, I set you up. I wanted you to say prevailing wage. Because I just think that a lot of people don't understand what that is. I lived it in 2004, 2005, and I know exactly what it is.
You and I went through
one
it.
of- One of the reasons that we don't get the types of schools that we really want a lot of times is we have to pay that Philadelphia, you just call it the city of Philadelphia wages, prevailing wages, and we end up paying a whole lot of money extra because it is a government contract.
Well, I would like to see that written down then so we can further explore that and share that so more people understand that.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we should do.
Let me just point out one fact. The prevailing wages that you're under right now were the prevailing wages from 3 years ago when we bid the job. So those wages carry through this entire project and have not gone up. If you bid this out right now under a whole new system, you would be governed by the prevailing wages that were established in March 15th of this year. And they would be dramatically higher than they are right now. You're fortunate that you're still guided by the prevailing wages from 3 years ago. Fortunately, we're not guided by the materials. But another thing, you're fortunate, you have sufficient funds, a lot of funds left over on this project, which was a huge, huge deal. Now, I've been doing schools all my life, all my career, and you are in an extremely good position with the monies that you have left over. And you need to use them for your full impact of your educational facilities.
Mr. Cowan, that's the kind of thing we need to understand that educates us and helps us understand your business. Thank
Yes,
you.
and I
Thank you for
appreciate
sharing that.
Sometimes I speak because I think everybody knows my world.
Right.
Like, I know, you don't. I don't know your world that well, but my job is, I work for you. And my job is to make sure you're finished on time and under budget, and you have a facility that you're happy with and pleased with, and that's what my job is.
And we
Thank you.
appreciate your honesty and your transparency. I'm just sad for the taxpayers that have to deal with
Yes,
this.
and one more thing, I'll get off my soapbox after that. There's legislation moving through the government right now. It's called PLA. And your prices will only get worse. They'll skyrocket. So talk to your legislators.
What can we do to stop that?
Yep.
Out of control. Out of control.
I do want to say this, I do want to say this to the teachers. I do have to say this. And I've known this since my principal days, but CTE is a very important part of school. We talk a lot about test scores. We talk a lot about college. We kind of pound that down. And I've got to say this. The CTE programs that we offer at both high schools, many of which, are new and came about since I left. But I want to say this. I just looked at some stats and I brought up, I wanted to check in. 78 students of our career technical education or high school competed in state competition. 6 students went to the national level. 1 student went to the international level. And 15 certified nursing assistants, CNAs in our technical programs are going to walk out with a certificate in their hand, and they'll go make $20+ an hour or more at local hospitals, nursing homes, and places where help's needed. So I do appreciate the work that we do. I know we spend a lot of time talking about other things, but I greatly appreciate what our CTE programs do for our kids. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
5.10 fiscal year 2027 school resource officers contracts. And this is a discussionable item.
Yes, so what you have there in your board docs is a comparison of all of our SROs over the last 5, 6 years. It shows we reached out to all the SROs, got the renewal contracts to be able to put this together for this coming year. I did misspeak at the committee. All of our contracts for the SROs end on August 31st. So that does not have to be action tonight. That's why it's just down for discussion. We do need to make an action item by the end of August, so whether or not we're going to renew the contracts. And so all of the SRO contracts are there in front of you. The town of Ocean View, Selbyville, and Millsboro stayed the same from last year. The town of Georgetown went up, and the Delaware State Police went up. All of these funds will be covered by the safety and security funds. We do have this in the budget to cover these funds for the upcoming year.
So why did some stay the same and Georgetown went up?
That's a question.
Thank you.
So first off, I want to say, in consideration of the partnership, obviously, we would keep it the same if that became an issue and there was not funding to do that. I increased it by 5,500 because we've had significant increases in salaries for police officers. And previous to that, I had kept it at the same number for 3 years. And so I added that 5,500, but again, I want us to work together. And so that is not a make or break number. And if I were to ask to reduce it down back to the 82,840, I would do that. I just would like the consideration that with the contracts for agencies across the board, officers are making quite a bit more money. And so their increase for Georgetown last year was 18%. And that 5,500 does not represent anywhere near that amount.
So Chief, thanks for your help. Thanks for doing this for our students. We really appreciate the program. With that said, I think you said you have a dedicated officer you put in the schools. Is that correct?
Yes, we actually have 2 trained SROs. Ashley Mellis that's her main job. And then when she goes on vacation, we have Corporal Repass who fills in to make sure that we have an SRO in the school.
So there's always a backup.
Yes, ma'am.
And you cover what, 3 schools? Is that correct?
Yes, Georgetown Middle, Georgetown Elementary, and North Georgetown Elementary.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Do you have any other questions?
I think last year we were given a document that showed which schools the officers went to. Like, we've got 3 contracts with the state police and these other municipalities. It would be helpful to maybe see that document again, to see where everyone is going.
Yeah, I think that would be very helpful.
Yeah, we can do that. You want to know what school each one?
Yeah,
Yes,
so we
sir.
know,
Yes.
we know where people are assigned.
Yeah, we
Now,
can do
I'm
that.
just gonna ask you, Ms. Parker, you reviewed our state funding
Yes.
and for school safety, and I guess the question I'm gonna ask is one I know Leaga's probably thinking is if we put this much money into salaries, how much are we going to have left to do some of the other things that need to be done?
I have that here. Hold on just 1 second. So we put together, when we met with Mr. Cathell, a few weeks ago or a few months ago, a couple months ago. Yeah, time goes by pretty quick. So we put together projected 27 funding for the safety and security funds. We get those from two sources. We get a portion of it from the state, and we get a larger portion from our local revenue. In total, we anticipate
bringing in about $2.5 million next year in revenue. And we will spend about 2.4 of that on our constables and our SROs. So that would leave around 14. We would have another 14,000 that we would put in other expenses that we might need if we need a camera here, there, or door locks or stuff like that, things that we could use safety and security funds for. But we have a carryover balance at the beginning of the year that we anticipate being around 315,000. So at the end of next year, that would actually add a little bit to it. And so we anticipate a little over 400,000 being left in the safety and security fund at the end of fiscal 27.
It is my understanding that Selbyville has 3 schools that it covers, correct? Selbyville Middle, Philip Shaw, and Southern Delaware School of the Arts. And Georgetown has 3 schools also.
I guess what is it that we're trying to decide for
My-
next month?
My question was about why Georgetown was asking for $5,520 more dollars. And I appreciated the information being because of the demand and the cost of hiring an officer and what it. But at the same time, I'm looking at Selbyville and they're in the same situation.
So you're saying
But
because some of
Georgetown,
them,
they're not
they're all
increasing.
different rates.
They're not increasing.
Is that what you mean? That they're
And
different
no one's
rates?
going up at all except Georgetown.
So
They may not have had rate, possibly contractual raises that bump that up, would be my
I think
guess.
that's what it is, Derek. See, I'm trying to understand the increase.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to understand too, like why they're all different. And I think I think we should be fair across the board, or I think I like to look at that, but it's hard because we just got this information. I haven't had a chance to look at it.
Yeah, I think we can look at the fairness, but I do think, Dr. Hartman, we also need to look at. And that's why I think Kelly is right. We need to know who's at what schools. If we have one person covering 3 schools and one person covering 1, then we have to take a look at where we are.
Okay. So we're gonna
And,
do
you
that
know,
next.
At the school that's being covered, if it's 1, it could be a very, very busy area that we need to cover. It's
Right.
very possible.
And
But
then-
I just think it's best to look. I think my question, and I'm gonna throw this one out, and Derek, Mr. Gaffin, we'll throw it to you. Last year, we went with an extra SRO, and Dr. Owens maybe would have helped me. And I think one of the reasons we did, I could tell me if I'm wrong, is we wanted to make sure that we had somebody spending time at Long Neck. And I just want to make sure that that second officer is not staying at Sussex Central all day and is in fact spending time at Long Neck Elementary.
Yes, and I think that document also showed us some of the calls for service
Yeah,
too.
makes sense.
I
Yeah,
think the main reason was when the middle school moved from the town limits of Millsboro to the high school. So that took that out of Millsboro's jurisdiction. So that's a very busy school complaint wise, so that warranted another officer in that
Correct.
school.
You're
But
right.
are they tasked with Long Neck? Am I?
One of
the
them,
two SROs?
one of them would respond. Typically, it's Officer Falsky from SCMS.
But too, the chief did say there was an 18% increase at the middle school, correct?
no, it's in their
That's their
their
contract.
contract price for like.
I guess the other thing we talked about a year
That
ago
was up.
was, I guess, one of the SRO schools, they were gonna help coordinate activities with the other schools, offer training. And I guess I would like to see maybe like what metrics are we using to see what they're doing, what they're accomplishing? It's
That was
just
the
gonna be,
question I had earlier.
yeah, to try to be more uniform. So maybe that's something we can come up with.
Mr. McLaughlin, Chief, I do think that that's something we did ask for, I think last year, and you did go through some things that your department was going to do.
Yes, sir.
Would it be too much to ask for our July meeting that we could have each department give us that list of things that you went through, complaints, the whole 9 yards, so we have an idea about numbers?
I think that's something that's doable. If I could, just a little bit, there's never been a uniform price So I think, I'm not sure what we're paying now for a state trooper versus the Georgetown cop. I think it's DSP, Derek, you might know, it's 150,000 a year.
I mean, everybody's under
Yeah,
different.
and then
pricing
80,000 for Ocean View, 85 for Georgetown. So it's kind of all over the place. I will say this, whether you have one school, 3 schools or 5 schools, you know, there's 40 hours in the work week. And the constable could be at one school he's giving you the same 40 hours as the constable or the SRO at 3 schools. So I'm a big believer in there should be some uniformity across the board. We're training up our second SRO. In fact, she started a week training this week with the National Association of School Resource Officers to have that backup. We don't allow our SRO to take vacations during the school year. Every time he's out on a sick day, we backfill that with an overtime position. I've gone in and done it myself to make sure that we always have that person at the school. There's been some talk about elementary schools maybe not needing it. I can tell you there's a big controversy in Maryland right now because of stabbing that occurred about 2 weeks ago in an elementary school with no SRO in Maryland. And so I think it's important. Sounds like we've got the funding to do it. When it comes to the difference in pay too, quite frankly, you guys ask us, what do we want? We're willing to accept it. I'd like to get a little bit more money, but we looked at our budget. We looked at what we could do on our end. The 80,000, I think is what we asked for this year. That's what we need to keep the program alive. Georgetown needs a little bit more. I support his request 100%. We could have asked for more and we didn't. You know, he needs a little bit more to keep his program going. All of us are facing huge increases in salaries in the police profession. And we're hoping that we can continue.
Chief McLaughlin, if I may.
Yep.
Last year, we approved the position that you wanted at Lord Baltimore based upon that you would share all the wonderful programs that you were doing within your school.
Yes.
And share the wealth.
Yes, and
Basically.
I can
And
tell
I
you
wanted
this.
to kind of get a feedback.
Yeah, I can tell you this.
On how that went.
Nobody's reached out to us. We went above and beyond. I would ask Dr. Owens, you can check with Kurt Brown and Mark Rust and Doug Messick. I've reached out to them multiple times over the school year saying we've got these programs, we want to do more, we want to share it, and we've got no response from anybody. We still did those programs at Lord Baltimore. In fact, we added programs, and I sent you all an email, I think Friday, that had a rundown of some of the programs that we offered at Lord Baltimore. Overwhelmingly positive response from our staff and our parents. So it's all good, but I can't, I can't force anybody else to do anything else. We're doing active shooter training, started today, 2-day classes that we're running at Lord Baltimore right now for area SROs and constables, not just from Indian River School District. We've got constables. We've got, I think, Newcastle County sending paramedics down from Newcastle County. So it's opened up to everybody in the state. And we're doing those things. We've been doing those things for 2 decades now. And we want to continue to be able to do that.
So I think
again,
that
there is a difference in the request from Ocean View to Georgetown, but I really throw that back on us. I'm telling you what I need to keep my program going, and he might need a little bit more.
No, thank you for doing that. I know you do a lot at Lord Baltimore, and I think it's almost on us. Like, you're right, you can offer that, but nobody may take you up on that. But if the district is paying for their salaries, the district is your boss. And so if we want other SROs to take on some of this training, like, we need to be directive and tell them, hey, Lord Baltimore or the Ocean View Police Department, they're doing this. We would like you to participate in this. I think we need a little bit more overview.
Share that. I tell you, we did our CPR program. Every 5th grader now that graduates from LB is going to be CPR trained.
It's really great.
Every one of them is going to go through the full NRA gun safety program. Those are kind of things we found that were beneficial. The staff loved it, the kids loved it, the parents loved it.
And so maybe that comes from our safety committee, that we'd be more directive to them.
We're gonna start having quarterly meetings.
Okay.
But I think also to make it
But I-
perfectly clear, if your contact should be either Dr. Owens or Dr. Jones, Mark and Kurt are employees of the district as well. They're not the ones that make the decision, nor is Doug. So any program benefits that you have that you would be willing to share needs, I think, to go through administration instead of those, because ultimately in the end, they'll make a recommendation and the board makes the final decision.
Yes.
So
And
that way
again, we
you're-
do, like I said, I sent out an email. You should have gotten it Friday. I sent it out to all the board members and Dr. Owens and Dr. Jones. And yeah, we're out there. It's no secret what we're doing. We'd love to share our programs with the other schools in the district, but I can't really, make them
Understood.
do it. Yeah, I can't
Yeah.
force anything. You guys might be able to do that, but I can't do that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Okay, thank you.
And I have these and I'll disseminate them. I did bring some stats for Georgetown. And I just want to bring up something that hasn't been mentioned previously. So in addition to the salary, the salary that IRSD gives to Georgetown for our SRO does not come close to paying for that officer or the vehicle or the equipment. But the officers also put in 3,200 hours or $3,200 worth of overtime for sporting events, dances, different things that they participated in after their normal day of work. We had an arrest. Obviously, we don't want to arrest kids, but we had an arrest to young gentleman who had fantasized about active shooter. And to the point where he had a plan, he had it was well worked out. He just didn't have the means to do it. And what I want the board to consider is that was not just Officer Mellis, the SRO, who was involved in that case. I had 8 officers involved in that case, either with follow-up investigation, interviews, Child Advocacy Center interviews, victim services was involved in that. So when we talk about these incidents for Georgetown schools, it's not just the SRO that you're getting the value from. You're also getting our detectives who do the follow-ups, other officers who fill in or go to the school to assist the SRO that's there. And so again, I don't want to make a big fuss over the $5,500. I wanted to bring it to the attention of these other issues that we're facing, not just in the salary, but also the overtime, after school stuff that the officers go to. We have to pay them for that. They do it, I believe, out of the love of the kids and being a part of the school. But I can't ask them, they can't volunteer that. I have to pay them. So I just wanted that to be understood, that it's not just that SRO. They have a support staff in our agency for these investigations that often don't get solved within one day or 1 hour at the school. I'll drop these off to everybody. It's not a deep dive. I gave you some examples of what each call for service is in there, and then some pricing and that for your consideration. At the end of the day, it's your decision. And if the board wanted to say SROs will get X number of dollars, regardless of how many schools or what agency it is, I don't think there would be an issue with that. But for everybody to be fair. But I will say that the stats you see there aren't what some agencies do as far as a walk through the school. We don't count that. Our calls for service are calls for service where that officer, not a constable, had to be called and had to deal with that situation. And so we don't count a walk through the school. If an officer or a detective goes through that school, they're not getting a statistic for the purposes of building a database. The numbers you have there are the down and dirty numbers. And if you would like a deeper dive and know exactly what those are, beyond the what I put in there, I'd be more than happy to provide that to you.
I appreciate the information. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for providing this. I think this is something that a lot of people would like to know, like just to hear back from you, not just once a year, but like on a monthly or quarterly basis, if that's easier, like, and I'd like to hear from all the schools, what's going on in the schools? What are we seeing? You know, like you said, arrests or civil citations. I think that would be great. I think so if we came up with a standardized, you know, like reporting mechanism, seeing what's going on at each of our schools, or more informed of what's going on. I would love to see the SROs standardize that across the board and report back to us. And then one day when we get a blank sheet, I think that would be amazing when nothing else there was to report.
And I think that's something you can ask, be put in the contract that we sign. That says that how much we're gonna charge and how much you're gonna pay. And we can put in there, we can provide you with the statistics or a written report of some sort telling you what we handled, how we handled it, and that kind of thing. I don't think any chief would have an issue with that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Owens, do we collect any of that data now from the schools, from the SROs?
We do upon request. Typically, they'll give us end of year statistics, so we can certainly work with them. I know they've provided, they're great with us, so we can get it on a quarterly basis if needed.
Quarterly would be nice.
It'd be nice, but I think, for the July committee meeting, we could have, that list to look over, and then we can make a decision in July.
Mr. Sherwood, if I could, what I would ask is, because each year we go through this and every department's giving you something different. We all use different metrics for what we report, what we don't report necessarily. And I would throw that back with you and board and maybe Mr. Cathell, if he's chairing that committee, for you guys to develop some kind of standardized reporting form so that we're all giving you the same information and everything's uniform across the board. That would make it a lot easier for us, because I can tell you, we again, I've been through this a number of times. It seems like every year we're coming up, things are miscued. You talked earlier, Mr. Steele, about statistics, and Dr. Hattie mentioned, a lot of that depends on the information that you're providing. Everybody's got to be gauged on the same level of data. So if you guys can come back up with something that all of us, the municipal departments and the state police can use, so that we're all giving you guys a good clean picture and it's uniform across the board. Because I know we report some things that other agencies might not necessarily report. I tell you, when our SRO gets called down by Ms. Webb to the office to assist with something, there isn't necessarily a report need. Some other schools, they may document that. So there needs to be some uniform reporting.
I agree with that.
If you guys could help us develop that, I think it'd be better for everybody. Have a truer picture of what's going on.
Chief, I absolutely agree. And I think, Mr. Cathell, if you could work with Dr. Owens, Dr. Jones, maybe, and develop, what that's going to look like. And that way we can take a look at it as a board, and that way we'll have the uniformity of everything that we need data wise, metric wise, we've got.
Well, our plan, I think we're gonna try to start meeting quarterly, maybe bring our new, hire them in that position. I think they would be a good resource there. And I don't think you need to meet monthly, but I think quarterly would be more than sufficient. We can gather that data from the agencies.
If you have any problem on our end, giving you a quarterly report.
Well, it would be easier if it was the same report that you all get, then it's going to make it uniform for all of us.
And then we put those stats out of the board meeting
Yep.
after we have that safety and security meeting.
I think that's great. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, if there's no more discussion, at that point, we'll pick that up at the July committee meeting. Let's move on to 5.11 Sussex Central High School change order notifications.
On your board docs for this agenda item, you will find two change orders which are being presented as board notifications, as they are below the dollar amounts outlined under the board's procedure for change order approval thresholds. I've reviewed each of these with Dr. Owens, and they were reviewed at the Buildings and Grounds Committee. Brad Cowan with RYJ is here tonight to respond to any questions. Absent of any questions, we are requesting school board approval at this time.
Questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion that we approve the change order notifications.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimous. 5.12, air quality complaint incidents.
On May 11th, we received an air quality complaint from one of our schools. The redacted report is on your board docs. It was for an offensive odor, like something had died and started decaying. We investigated the complaint immediately, including having an outside consultant perform testing. We isolated the source to a wall cavity, which was inaccessible without significant deconstruction of the wall. The results of the testing indicated that toxic conditions were not present, rather that this was simply a nuisance item. We performed an in situ odor remediation, which appears to have been successful. I visited the area several times, including recently, and the smell appears to have ceased. We communicated with the two affected teachers and the school administration throughout, and we reported that the issue appears to be resolved. We have some drywall repair to complete this summer, and we will continue to monitor the area. I deem this issue to be closed. This concludes my report.
Any idea what caused the odor?
I'm guessing it's a small rodent that got in.
Sounded like it was pretty awful.
Yeah, I agree. No fun.
Any further questions? Thank you, Mr. Jewell.
Thank you.
5.13, Sussex Land Trust, Ingram Pond. Dr. Parsons, tell us about your walk in.
So I had a chance to go onto the property and so we met with the Sussex Land Trust. We brought a recent Indian River High School grad with us as well, would be Ben Parsons. And so we loaded up, someone gave me advice. So we loaded up with our boots, our DEET, permethrin. The Sussex Land Trust, they were a little less prepared, but I hope they fared well. And so we walked the property. It's very interesting, very beautiful, very serene. It's a really, really nice property. And so it came up with a list of questions really before we move forward with that and then have been answered, was the property outright purchased or was it donated to the school district? If it were donated, where there's contingencies placed on that, but the property was purchased. You have records going back to 1973 deed. And then if there are any deed restrictions, what was the ownership? But then we just found out that the state does own 60%. So good to know. And then can the district legally sell development rights, like work with a group like the Sussex Land Trust or another one to grant a conservation easement? And you found out that we can legally enter into an agreement, but we would have to involve the Delaware Department of Management and Budget if we did that. And then fourth, very importantly, we just need to know, can the property support a school physically? Are we limited in size? Does it have to be an elementary school? Can it be a middle school? Can it be a high school? And you all got back to me and said it could support a school of any size up to a high school. So that would be good to know as well. And then we also need to know, is there any impending need for a school in that area? Doesn't seem to be right now at this time, not imminently, but you never know what the future holds. So it is you're not going to find land again. They don't make any more land. So I think it would be great to keep it in the district. The only other concern is that it was costing $28,000 a year to maintain that property. Some of those costs have been decreased. We eliminated some, Wi-Fi, internet access, things like that to bring the price down. But a property that size really should be making us money, not losing us money. It looked like when I went out there was farming being done. So I didn't see that as on the income line if we were receiving any leasing from a farmer. Not that there would be a whole lot of income, but if there is, just need to figure out what that is. And then the other one where we could actually make more profit would be harvesting the timber, which has been done in the past. So I think we can easily do that. I don't think it's a strain on the district at all. It's something that gets contracted out, or we make even the state can provide a forestry plan at no cost. And then we can contract with a procurement company and a harvester. So I think we should explore that possibility. I don't know what you need to do at this point, but I don't think there's much to do other than we're not moving to sell it or an easement at this point, just to give us the most freedom and flexibility with the land going forward. But I would like us to move forward on seeing how we can make it profitable for us and exploring those possibilities going forward.
And thank you. It's a big project and I gave it to you and you took it in rain. So thank you for doing it. Answered a lot of questions that we needed to answer. And
do have
we
a
can make
question.
decisions on what we need to go.
What do we pay $28,000 for when it sits vacant?
So that was electricity, internet access, I think trash removal. Mr. Parker can provide, he did break it down. I don't have that in front of me now.
That's fine. I just was curious because
It was higher than I expected.
So are we considering moving forward in using the land for the students again and having different programs out there with our curriculum? I know
No.
money is an issue with busing, et
Yes.
cetera. Is that what's holding us back?
It's the money for the transportation and also having enough staff to support the students out there,
Right.
which we don't have at this time with the cuts.
That was one of the cuts we made last
Yeah.
year, I believe.
I understand. I remember that.
But
So
maybe that's
until
something we
then-
can do if we can generate profit or funds from the harvesting. Maybe that's something that could be
The Department
applied
of
directly.
Agriculture and Forestry Department, they have all kinds of programs that might be really worthwhile looking into.
Yes, and Mr. Parker can correct me if I'm wrong, but the original harvest money that was given always went back into the program. And it's been, we can't replenish it. So I want to say before we reduced staffing, we had about 80,000 left in that pot of money. We used that money for equipment, repairs, and of course, we haven't needed it lately, but that money will not grow.
We could also get Dr. Hattier involved. I know sometimes he brought the scout troops out there to clear paths, and maybe he has some ideas to maybe generate some revenue.
Needs Eagle Scout
Yeah.
project, that would, yeah.
Yeah. I know that the Boy Scouts done a lot of work out there that we don't really see and haven't seen, but I know they're going in there and clear paths, trim brush. And Dr. Hattier has done a lot of work out there. So, we've got a lot of options. We could always explore the forestry part of it, particularly, but I know we've sold trees out of there, I think a couple times.
And the same thing for the farming. We used to have a producer that tilled it, but the farthest field to the back. And then the next one, and then it just kind of kept moving forward. The poor guy would plant soybeans and he wouldn't harvest a bushel off of it because it's deer population. I mean, and now they're more prevalent than ever. And then, someone asked us about hunting and we said no, because that's a liability issue.
And that does not have to be a liability issue. That's something that, again, is usually done. You can do it through a third party where they take care of all the liability and
And
the
I understand,
contracts
but
for
I'm
that.
just saying that's how it was in the beginning. So that's why we don't have anybody to farm. I wouldn't.
Yeah, there's more
wouldn't
options.
expect a producer to pay us to go right there to plant something he wasn't going to harvest. So in the last, I don't know how many years it's been, we said it would just grow up. But I do think there's programs, just like they said, that would hinge on the system itself that's out there that we could use through the department, whether it's wildlife or a pond or whatever in there. It's just, we have to be the ones that make that work.
It does open the door for us to take a look at everything. That's the good thing now that we got a lot of. Oh, okay.
But often outbreaks.
Yeah, I just think we've got a lot of options now that we can, at least look into. We've got a lot of questions answered that I think a lot of board members really didn't know the answer to be honest with you. And, that's sort of been the land. I will say, remember when that land was purchased, it was going to be, I think Jay and I were talking about this, or Dr. Owens and I, that was going to be a centralized high school.
Yes.
Back in the early 70s, where Indian River and Sussex Central, there would only be one high school in the district instead of two. And I think that actually went, I might be wrong. Did that go to a referendum and get voted down? No.
I don't remember. I don't know.
I was just a kid, so,
That was just.
that's too many years for me to remember. But I thought there was a referendum that got voted down. And that's why we currently have the north-south split instead of having one high school, which if you take a look at where we are today, that would be a mega high school, probably the biggest in the state, I would imagine. So.
Well, I'll keep looking into it, seeing what the other options are, take your ideas in and just keep
I like
going
that.
forward with ideas.
And if we see anything, we'll put it to you.
Right. Let's move on. We have 5.14. We have presented to us tonight an exec session tax relief request. This is an actionable item, so I will ask, would anyone like to make a motion on 5.14? Going to ask a second time, would anyone like to make a motion on 5.14 tax relief? Okay, the motion does not pass due to a lack of motion. I guess no motion, lack of motion. So we move on.
Mr. Steele, I would like to see something put in place where we have more consistency, because we do approve some tax relief requests and deny others, and I want to make sure we're being equitable to all requests.
Mr. Peden, I think we're at a point in our school district where we really need to have uniformity. And I think in that, I think we should probably ask Dr. Owens, Dr. Jones to check with other school districts. Let's find out exactly what they do, what processes they use. And I think during our July meetings, we had quite a few meetings in July, I believe, and maybe even in August, when we get together for a retreat. I think it's a really good idea that we look in so we can be uniform in how we deal with these.
We can absolutely do that.
Thank you, Mr. Peden.
I believe there's some, Mr. Peden, that don't entertain them at all, and our district historically has entertained. But we'll get you some more information. Sure.
Thank you. Old business 6.01, major capital planning.
Thank you, Mr. Steele. Just a brief update on Sussex Central High School. We are obviously winding down. The Performing Arts entrance courtyard is complete at this time. The main lobby floor logo has been installed. The installation of the interior acoustical panels has started. The interior signage installation has also started. Exterior signage installation is scheduled to start next week. Exterior site work, substantial completion is pending. DENREC final approval. The Ag and Maintenance Building, which we discussed a little bit tonight, are complete and awaiting DP&L to provide electric. And our internal team continues to observe the project and funding. You heard some of that consideration this evening.
Any questions? I do apologize, but we have sprung a leak, I think. So at least it's great we're having rain. It's not good we've got a leak, Mr. Dooley.
We're hoping it's the air conditioner, not the roof.
That's not a hoping, but I'm not sure. Okay, let's move into committee report 7.01, building and grounds, Mrs. Wright.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Steele. We had a meeting on June the 8th. And a lot were in attendance. A lot of things have already been discussed and voted on this evening. The one thing is with Sussex Central, and Jay just alluded to that. The one concern was the signage, both inside of the school and outside of the school, and that's being worked on. As Dr. Owens just mentioned, we did discuss the Oyster Program building. The two gentlemen were here earlier. That's the same thing that they gave us. It does seem to be an exciting time and wanting to be able to tie it into the STEM curriculum, and it looks like it's going to be a great program. Under the old business, we reviewed the monthly work orders, which are reports for things that need to be taken care of within each of the schools. A lot of this stuff is scheduled to be worked on over the summer. The Sussex Land Trust and Ingram Pond, Dr. Parsons gave us an update, much like she just gave us now. And there was Georgetown Middle's traffic safety, a memorandum of understanding. They asked that they be able to put a tag, what's the thing called?
License plate reader.
License plate reader there. So we had to sign off on that. New River High School hydroponic greenhouses were discussed, much as what you heard this evening. There is a gentleman that is interested in doing farming on a small parcel at Sussex Central High School. Mr. McCabe, who was here this evening, is going to work with him and see what kind of agreement we can come up with. Buildings and ground, we talked about the air quality incident and the closure of it. Several projects, including parking lots, crosswalks, cooling towers are due to be replaced during the summertime. And that we adjourned at 5 o'clock. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Wright. 7.02 comprehensive school safety. Mr. Capel.
Thank you, Mr. Steele. Couple updates. So the districts use some of our funds to purchase handheld wand detectors for each building. And our administrators will be trained during our July Administrative Institute on proper use. Additionally, we have a district team scheduled to attend safety trainings this August, and they will bring the training back to leadership to inform any needed policy, procedure changes. Those training dates are going to be as followed. August 5th and 6th, training on proven practices for coordinated and efficient family and student reunification following an incident. And August 12th, the Delaware School Safety Conference, the Delaware Department of Education and the Delaware School Safety Center are hosting a full day conference designed to equip school and district leaders with practical insight and strategic guidance, featuring nationally recognized experts in school law, behavioral threat assessment, counter-radicalization, and student support services, and offering legally sound, research-based approaches to identifying concerning behaviors, preventing targeted violence, and strengthening multidisciplinary response systems. Second one's at Polytech. Where was the first one?
Reunifications at Polytech, the second one's at University of Delaware.
Okay. And we had enough over the console contract, so that concludes my report.
Mr. Caffell. Finance, Mr. Beeden.
Thank you, Mr. Steele. There was a donation from DCF to Indian River High School that was covered in the Building and Grounds Committee meeting. Mr. Parker presented uniform replacements for Sussex Central High School football and wrestling teams. It was discussed that the wrestling uniforms would be partially paid out of the athletic budget, $3,000, but I believe it was confirmed and updated today that it would be donated funds. And then the football uniforms will be paid out of the athletic budget at a cost of $8,000, but I believe that was also updated that the boosters would cover. A discussion was held regarding athletic budgets and increased costs for transportation, officials, security, and DIAA, and the use of school budgets versus athletic budget covering that increased cost. Additional information will be gathered and shared at a future committee meeting. Mr. Furman also presented a proposal to expand athletic ticket sales for the 26-27 school year. Estimates that the change would increase or raise 228,000 in athletic ticket sales. And earlier tonight, we had discussed to table that and for more discussion. Mr. Parker presented the 26-27 proposal meal prices. Mr. Toomey shared that this is the 21st consecutive year without a student price increase, and there would be increases to 3 a la carte items. Mr. Parker presented the cost of the SRO contracts for the 26-27 school year. Overall, the cost of all contracts would be $725,462.72. Mr. Parker presented options for proposed tax rates for fiscal year 27, which included no match taxes, maintain same match taxes implemented last year, implement all match taxes at a cost of $34.33 to the average taxpayer, or maintain current tax rates with a decrease to debt service and add the enhanced minor cap match tax. Mr. Parker reviewed the May 31st, 2026 financial reports. And lastly, Mr. Parker presented the recent Joint Finance Committee recommendations. This includes repealing the required give back, reinstating the athletic trainer and substitute reimbursement funds, and reserving 100 million to go to the Public Education Funding Committee recommendation. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Peden. 7.04 curriculum, Mr. Neal.
No meeting
Okay,
this month.
no meeting.
So can I say something about the curriculum report?
Yep.
So now that we're talking about standardizing a lot of reports like on safety and the SROs, I think I would really, I mean, how we looked into how we can standardize our curriculum reports. Like just no kidding once a quarter, like how are our students doing and like what metrics we want to measure? What do we think are most important? To, I guess, reflects our students, our district, not necessarily the state, but I would like to see that maybe like in a monthly report that we know what we're going to hear about. Of course, we can report anything else. And then especially at the end of the year, like when we could expect to get the whole year end, because we can't really improve what we're not measuring. And we really owe it to our students to keep a close eye on this. This is kind of our reason for being here. So I would just like to make that suggestion.
We will look at that. There's embargoed information that is currently awaiting release. So typically it's August when we can then provide the comprehensive presentation. So we will utilize that as a springboard from closing out the year, moving into next. We can also give the board an idea of what we could provide on a quarterly or, mid-year basis as well.
Okay, yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
7.05 DSBA Board of Directors, Ms. Klein. Did I skip something?
Yeah, policy.
7.05. Skip 7.05 Board of Directors.
Oh, since we haven't moved on yet, we're still
Hold
on
on a second.
curriculum.
Okay. 7.05 policy, we moved you up.
I think she had something else about curriculum.
Yeah, thank
I'm
you.
sorry.
So, I had mentioned before in a committee meeting that we look into third grade retention. And it's something that our teachers brought up, that if students aren't really meeting the bare minimum to move on to the next grade, that they're discouraged, that some of the students are when they really maybe shouldn't be. And I don't think we're doing our students any favors if we're passing them along. And I understand it's, emotionally impactful to hold back any student. I also think it'll be a huge impact if we don't hold back a student who would go on to struggle in reading and math. So I was just wondering if that's something we could explore looking into, whether that would be part of the curriculum committee or we would need to form another like ad hoc committee to look at this going forward.
I think we can easily, I don't know, Kelly Dorman's here, but I think we can easily provide the retention data from third grade. We can pull those numbers. Maybe you and I can connect on what exactly you think would be helpful for the committee, but certainly that data can be included.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, 7.05, Ms. Taylor.
Okay. We did meet on June 8th, 2026. After the approval of minutes, we went into second readings. There were no further changes or edits that were requested for the following policies: BB, school board legal status, and GCA, professional staff positions. This time I'll pause for the board to take action on these two policies tonight.
Have any questions or any discussion? I'll entertain a motion that we accept the two policy changes.
So move.
In a second, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimous.
The following policies were under review. JE, student attendance. There were several suggested edits by the committee. It was requested by Dr. Jones that when it comes back for review at the July committee meeting, that it goes for a first and second read at the July board meeting. We had much robust conversation about student attendance, and I think we'll get a lot of good information when we come back on that. Moving on to JG, discipline policy. After a lot of conversation, there were no further changes, and we will proceed. JECCA, school choice, there were no further changes or edits. KNAJ, interrogations, searches, and seizures, several suggested edits by the committee, and so therefore we will return for review. ILB, student participation in state assessments and exemption criteria, a new policy that was presented to the committee. Dr. Jerns requested that committee attendees review the policy in detail and present any requested changes at the next meeting. Therefore, we will return for review at the July Policy Committee meeting. We adjourned at 5:18. The next meeting is scheduled for July 13th, 2026 at 4 p.m.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor. 7.06, DSBA Board of Directors.
The DSBA met on June 3rd and began the meeting with guests in attendance. Nick Johnson, Director of Operations at Polytech School District, Emily Falcon, Chief Operations and Financial Officer at Colonial School District, and Dr. Susan Brown of DASA. And they led a discussion with the Board of Directors about Senate Bill 322 relating to school taxes. Based on that discussion, the board changed their opposing position, the legislative committee's opposing position on Senate Bill 322 to a neutral position. The Delaware Performance Appraisal System update, Mr. Tull reported for Dr. Denman, who is not present. But in their most recent meeting, the DPAS Advisory Committee reviewed the language and final changes to ensure the DTGSS and DPAS language are aligned in all sections of the regulations that deal with evaluations for administrators, specialists, and teachers. There will be one more meeting for this group on June 23rd, where they will review and vote on this version to be submitted. The plan is for this to be rolled out with the improved and revised students' improvements components after January of next year. Old business that was covered, the DSBA dues bills were sent out, which we received ours. Mr. Tull also sent letters to the newly elected board members that included an invite to the new board member boot camp on July 18th, which of course anyone can attend, any already serving board member can attend. A new slate of officers that was nominated on May 6th were approved. And new business included a request for the names of the vice president or of the new presidents and vice presidents for each district board once we have our organization meetings, and to make sure that they have the correct information for the representatives and alternates for the DSBA. Mr. Tull will prepare the DSBA's 990 return over the summer, and mention the new board member boot camp again, that it also satisfies the statutorily mandated special ed due process training. And there will be an annual meeting for the DSBA at the Surf and Turf Bar and Grill in Milford. Other business included the Delaware Chief School Officers Association. Superintendent Lucas from Lake Forest School District reported on several bills working their way through Legislative Hall, including an energy drink bill sponsored by Representative Neal. He stated that the Secretary of Education met with each superintendent individually to present recovery data and assessment. Roundtable discussion included recent graduation ceremonies, a thank you to Matt Booker for his service to DSBA, there was discussion about working group meetings on the proposed truancy bill. Discussion on items coming back from JFC markup meetings, the $26 million give back, the $1 million one-time supplement for the hybrid unit funding model, updates on the Public Education Funding Committee, and discussion on changing back to days instead of hours for school calendars. And the next meeting will be held Saturday, August 8th, and that will be the annual meeting in Milford.
Thank you, Ms. Klein.
Mrs. Klein, what was their position on House, you said Senate Bill 322, the school property tax?
It was opposed and then it changed to neutral.
Are they doing any like active lobbying or anything actively to unite the districts on certain bills or certain laws?
I don't know if that happens more in the legislative committee, but I think based on the board's positions, then yes, the association does get behind certain bills.
I guess it would be good for like us to know, maybe like as school board members, like what bills are out there that are going to impact us and like what action, I guess we should be concerned about and like so like looking at their leadership, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
So anything come across that they're working on in particular?
Well, that's the big one. I don't know if Lisa has any other updates from the legislative committee, but that's the big one. And sometimes we change positions. I know there was one that we changed a position on a couple of months ago, and I can review what that was.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for attending those meetings.
Thank you, Ms. Klein. The SBA Legislative, Mr. Briggs.
Yes, there was, I got the committee meeting minutes from Wednesday, May 27th. Now, I was not able to attend that committee meeting due to my previous surgery. But legislative committee met on Wednesday, May 27th. Meeting was called to order by Matt Booker. There was 12 members in attendance. Meeting minutes from April 22nd were reviewed. The board of directors approved those, so no approval was necessary for our committee. Legislative issues, Mr. Tall reviewed the 153rd General Assembly bills that were previously authorized, legislative positions from the last meeting. And coming up, there were 7 House bills that were being reviewed to develop the advocacy positions. First one being House Bill 379. Was opposed position. HCR 122, there was no position taken on that. House Bill 404 supported the position, passed unanimously with the condition that our concerns in the selection process for schools in the pilot program are adjusted, and this refers to AI in the school pilot program that they Representative Lufosky brought up. House Bill 425, the committee took a opposed position. House Bill 432 supported the position with the condition of no local funding is needed. So that was what was presented. House Bill 443, they supported, passed unanimously. And then HCR 137, they supported with a majority vote to support with Appaquiddick voting no. So there were 7 bills there. There's 7 the Senate bills that were brought up. Senate Bill 293, the neutral position was voted upon. Senate Bill 294, neutral position was passed. Senate Bill 302, they supported that position. Senate Bill 303 supported that position. SJR 14 was a neutral position, passed by majority vote to be neutral with Smyrna and Woodbridge voting no. And then Senate Bill 322, the committee opposed, but that was the one that the,
That is now neutral.
we changed positions on. And then SGR 15 was a strongly support position, regularly moved, seconded, and passed by a voice vote. That was the one that Senator Buxton had introduced to reevaluate the SAT. Now, those bills, you still want me to send those to you with the supported positions as I did last time?
Yes.
That way you have that. Old business was school board election updates. Well, we know, the school board elections, results for that. They went over the referendum updates from the referendums that, the two of the districts had. And then this is going to be repeating what Mrs. Klein had brought up, the boot camp that's going to be. I do have a flyer. That's for all new school board members, but also experienced board members can attend as well. You're always learning new things. The annual meeting date is going to be scheduled for August 8th in Milford. The superintendent representative was Mrs. Sharon Digler-Laramu. Geronimo. Okay. I always mess that up. And of course, this is just reinforcing what Mrs. Klein had said, that the JFC markup restored the 26 million give back to the way it was back in 2018. And the JFC during a markup set up funding for the PFC and the hybrid model. And we need to keep a watchful eye on bills being filed as the General Assembly session continues. Roundtable discussions held that night was a setup of a working group for the proposed truancy bill sponsored by Senator Lockman, resolution by Senator Buxton about limiting bills being filed. A big thank you to Matt Booker from Milford for his service and dedication. And thank you to board members that attended the First State Educate DSB event that was held, I guess, the previous week before. Meeting was adjourned at 8:16. And of course, our next legislative committee meeting will be October 7th. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Briggs.
Quick question on that. Do you know which two districts held the referendum and whether either of those passed?
Caesar Rodney, and they passed, and was it Laurel that did not?
Defeated, yes.
Thank you.
7.08, special education.
Hi, we met with Mr. Neal, our committee, on June 5th. We talked about students that are in our private placements that go through the interagency collaborative team. We have 9 students at High Road School and 6 students in residential placements. We discussed the professional development that occurred this school year with all special educators, as well as our administrator check-ins that we participated in. We discussed behavioral supports, such as the student support suites and the staffing that's going to be provided next school year to the schools about that. We also talked about our summer program planning. We have a summer program for students with IEPs that starts on July 14th. And finally, we discussed the cost savings that happened with the IDEA grant this year because we were able to hire staff for next school year rather than having as many contractual staff members. So that concludes what we discussed at the Special Education Task Force.
And while you're here, 7.09, Community Advisory Board.
Great. Thanks for having me. I don't see any members here. So we did have a meeting on May 21st where their request was the academic updates, which I shared the same as what's been presented at the curriculum committees for elementary and secondary updates. We ran through our typical progress for the disparities with our graduation rate and our multilingual learners. We gave progress on the social emotional learning curriculum, as well as our PBIS program for culturally responsive instruction. And we reviewed the discipline data to date at that time, and I gave some special ed updates. We talked about the fact that next school year we'll have one meeting with our board president, which is required by the consent order annually to do, and that they do have the ability to come and speak at a board meeting, at any board meeting. And our meetings next school year, we set for October 22nd, January 28th, and May 27th of next year. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. 7:10, REA representative.
Good evening, Blair Catlin Brown, school social worker at Selbyville Middle and proud president of Indian River Education Association. Looking at this fiscal year we're moving into, there's a lot to celebrate on the state and county level. We're excited and waiting for the governor to give his final approval for the state budget, which will include raises for all education staff and a historic amount of money given to the hybrid model that you guys have mentioned before. So we're very excited to see that moving forward. I also just saw that they passed and are waiting signature for an ESP pay study. So we want to look into how we rank in terms of our ESPs and livable wages, because in terms of ranking across the country, our education support professionals do rank very high, but is that enough to survive in Delaware? So that's what that study will look at. So we're really excited to have that going as well. Huge thank to the county council for their surcharge fees, the impact fees that they passed in their budget. I have said it before and I'll say it again. It was an amazing example of districts, union, and the community coming together to get something done that we all kind of agreed needed to happen. So that was really amazing to see. When we look locally, obviously things are not quite as rosy. While we were proud of the work that we were able to do with only 90% of our staff, it isn't sustainable. We're losing amazing education staff, whether it's taking their retirement early, going to other districts. And we need to find a way to address that. It's been years since Indian River education staff has gotten an Indian River raise. We are worth more than 0%. If you hear that and your first thought is, but you got a raise from the state, then we remind you that compensation is a form of showing respect and appreciation for your staff. So years of 0% from the district tends to feel like the opposite, and we truly do feel that. There must be a plan to remedy this issue. We call on the board to get active locally and at the state, to get a referendum scheduled and planned, and continue to work with the state to reform their spending model. As you plan for next year's fiscal plan, you need to come up with a timeline that gets each and every one of you out in our community, out in front of our voters, so they understand why we need them to come together. We feel like that if you can do that, this can truly become another issue where the district, the union, and the community can truly come together to get something amazing done. Because we know that we will be fully amazing when we are fully staffed and respectfully compensated for the work that we do. Thank you very much.
Mr. Steele, I hate to interrupt. On the policy committee meeting minutes, I failed to realize that on JG discipline policy that was under policies under review, that it did say a second reading. So we do need to vote on the discipline policy also tonight. And I apologize for that.
Okay, let's go to 7.11 first, Futures Committee. If you have anything, Dr. Owens, and we'll come back to.
Sounds perfect. Thank you.
Yes, an update then, and I'll bring more information back. As you know, we've been considering the future use of this building primarily over the last few months. Does not look as though a need for an elementary school within our immediate future. However, I was contacted by Woodbridge School District Superintendent. We do currently partner with Woodbridge with the SCOPE program, which is in the southern end of our district. They utilize one of our small buildings, used to be a district office in Roxana. They would like the board and us to consider the possible use of that facility here for next year. That's several classrooms, office space. They would provide a constable, part-time custodian. So I will explore what that would look like in terms of a lease, in terms of use in this building with the immediate future, unknown for us here in this building beyond what we've utilized it for over the last year. So happy to answer any questions with that. However, I will request to bring more information back next board meeting to kind of flush this out a little further. The timeline is a quick turnover that they would like us to consider.
It's good news.
I was gonna say, that's really good news.
That is a countywide program, so it serves students across the county, including ours. And they are looking to expand into the elementary area, which is vastly needed for us and all districts in the county. So I think we would be serving a good purpose by allowing the use here.
And this facility has more room, so it can expand, which is great news. However, on the flip side, let's say it does thrive. Would the district be prepared if and when we do need the building to say, hey, the lease, we can't renew it anymore because at this time we now need the facility back?
They are aware of that possibility. And I think we would need to structure a lease in a way that honors our needs as well as their needs. The timeline, they would receive much advance notice, obviously, for us to turn around this school and make an elementary school would be at least a year, year and a half, possibly two in advance. So we would need to work collectively on that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Robinson. Let's back up again to 7.05. Ms. Taylor.
Yes, I apologize again. We need to take action this evening on JG discipline policy. We have finalized that policy. So if we could take action, I would appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll entertain a motion that we approve the first and second reading for JG discipline policy.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimous.
Thank you.
Superintendent's report 8.01.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Steele. A comprehensive review is in your board docs. The end of May and into June is a busy month with closeout of lots of things. So you'll see activity around that within the board report. I would like to highlight, we did have 3 graduations, Howard T. Ennis, Indian River High School, Sussex Central High School. I want to thank all the staff that was responsible for organizing those events to honor our graduates this year. So thank you very much for that team effort there. Definitely the highlight of the last several weeks, seeing our students graduate. Concludes my report.
Thank you. Financial reports. Mr. Parker. 9.01 financial summaries for the month ending May 31st.
All right. Good evening, everyone. The first document there is our financial summaries. This report is as of 5/31. It is not, we're 92% of the way through our fiscal year with only 1 month left to go. We have received 96% of our total budgeted revenue, 102% of our budgeted discretionary revenue, and 100% of our budgeted local tax revenue. We've also received approximately $198,000 in interest this month. And our spending, we have spent 83% of the total budgeted expenses, 86% of our total discretionary, 85% of our budgeted tuition funded classrooms, and Ennis has spent 94% of their budgeted expenses. So all of our spends there, Ennis is just a tick above the 92% where we're at, but everyone else is well below.
Questions? Entertain a motion that we approve financial summaries ending May 31st, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 9 point, the motion passes unanimous. 9.02 detailed information.
All right, the detailed report there that you have there. Some of the highlights, our student activity fund balance is approximately 89,000. Our federal funds available balance is 7.4 million, and we're holding approximately 1.6 million in donations and the student funds internal accounts.
Questions on the detailed information? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion that we approve the detailed information for the month ending May 31st, 2026.
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimous. 9.03, major capital improvement.
All right, that report there shows our major capital improvement, the one fund that we have still finishing out, the Sussex Central High School project. This month we paid out 1.5 million. And again, there it shows the remaining balance of 1.4 million, which is a little bit, the timing is a little bit off because we're waiting for POs to come in from some of the change orders to get approved versus the number that we hear from Brad in the when he reports his what's available number. Him and I go back and forth, and his when he reports his, though, that's our real accurate, like today to the penny number.
I think we've got that.
Right.
So, Mr. Parker, do we have to spend all of that strictly on Sussex Central?
Yes, that's
The
what.
building, okay.
Yeah, that's what.
And I believe I don't think I'm wrong in this. The only time we transfer money is if we had another open major capital project going on. We could transfer funds. But that's the only way.
Yeah, could if we had another CNN that was approved, we could request from the state to transfer the funds, not guaranteeing that they would let us do it, but that's the only way that you could move funds from one capital project to another.
Any questions on 9.03 major capital? Hearing none, I entertain a motion that we approve major capital improvement operations for the month ending May 31st, 2026.
Second.
The motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimous.
Nine point oh four.
9.04 minor capital.
Sorry, minor. Yeah, sorry. Okay. The minor capital report there shows that we have spent and encumbered $6.4 million to date this year, with a remaining balance of $972,000.
Questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion that we approve the minor capital improvement operations for the month ending May 31st, 2026.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimous. 9.05 Joint Finance Committee recommendations.
All right, we've talked about this in a couple other spots already tonight, so I'll try to run through this quick. We wanted to bring this up. So as part of the process the state goes through to approve their budget annually, it goes through their Joint Finance Committee. And the Joint Finance Committee has gone through everything and sent their approval to the legislation as of before we did this committee report. And I just wanted to highlight a couple things that is going to affect us as a school district. One of them is they took away the give back. And not to be Debbie Downer here, but I just wanted to, what was the phrase that they told me in the committee? I wanted to temper everyone's expectations of that. It does not mean we're going to get an extra $2 million. The way the give back works is every year, there is a specific line item for all other costs. And what the state does in July 1st, when they give us that money, they immediately hold that give back. So we don't have it on July 1st. They give us the opportunity to say, present an alternate plan, which we do every year. And last year, especially with us being at 90%, we had plenty of units to say, we would like to use these units. And that all happens throughout the year. In December is the deadline. And then they give the money to us in all other costs because we say, don't keep it up from here, take it from these other places. And so that's what happens because we're just turning in units that we're not used. By them getting rid of this, we'll get 100% now of that money in July. So really it's a timing issue. It's really going to help us with that gap period from July to September when we're trying to make sure we get to payroll and we get to that first tax payment. So that's the benefit of the give back going away for us now. Should we ever get back to a 98% or 100% higher rate, then that's probably when we really would see the addition of the give back, because then we don't have to try to go find units. Right now we have the units to give back, so it's not it's not as, I don't want to say it's a big of a deal. It is a big deal for us to get that money sooner, but it's more of a timing issue. And I just wanted to sort of make that clear that we weren't getting an extra $2 million. Because that's what it almost sounded like the other way they make it come out. A couple other things, in the original budget bill, they had taken away the athletic training block grant, the substitute block grant, the Joint Finance Committee put those back in. Were raises in the original plan for 2% for anyone in education who was not in the teacher scale. They raised that up to 3%. So cafeteria workers, folks like those who don't fall on the teacher scale, the state's is going to recommend giving them the 3% instead of 2%. And then, as everyone said, they the new funding model that they have presented and want to go forward with next year or in the next few years, they've gone ahead and set aside $100 million to start to fund that. I think in total, the funding model calls for an additional 236 million statewide. So it is encouraging that the state is taking it seriously by actually setting this much money aside ahead of time. So those are the four major things that came from the Joint Finance Committee. I just wanted to make everyone aware of this. Any questions about them?
Yeah, I have a question. So, Mr. Parker, this might go back to some of your financial reports. So I apologize if I'm asking during the wrong section. But as I was looking over the financial reports, I saw there were significant expenditures for the HVAC repairs, boilers, other building system expenses. But what I didn't see were utility costs to utility vendors specifically identified. So last month you said that we were notified by one of our energy providers, vendors, that they would be implementing a significant 40% rate increase. And we also were told that additional state support to offset the rising energy prices was just not going forward. So I was wondering if we could get a more detailed report by showing by school which utility vendors provide our electricity and heating services, whether it's Delmarva Power or Delaware Electric Co-op, whether it's propane, oil, just so we can kind of take a look at what energy we're using at each school, and maybe getting a better idea of what our costs are and which schools are the most economical energy-wise. So would it be, I guess, especially if we go forward trying to make capital investments, we've also been told that a lot of these systems are older and will probably need, replacing. I think it might be a good time to look at our energy systems, what are the more efficient ones? So I guess what I'm asking you, would it be possible to get a little bit more information broken down on our electricity vendors and what our expenses are, maybe in, get a little, technical here, but like dollars per kilowatt hours, just so we have more information as energy prices rise, and so we can make decisions on how to move forward on, I guess, tackling these energy issues going on in our system.
Yeah, we can certainly look into that. I'll see what we can come up with and be able to report to you guys.
Great, thank you.
Okay, moving on, 9.06, 2027 tax rates.
All right, we presented these at the Finance Committee last month. We presented a description of what each of these taxes are. And then at the committee, we presented a couple of different options and what the numbers are going to look like. Tonight, it's just for discussion. We plan to go at our special board meeting on July the 1st is where this vote will take place to enact next year's tax rates. If we look through this, the first part of it is all of the description. If you really get back to the numbers here in the back, we can go through the different options. Really, yeah. And so I had added a fourth option here from the Finance Committee. So I'll just go through the four options really quickly. Option one is really following our historical collections. Our current expense has to stay the same. That doesn't change without a referendum. Our debt service and tuition, we can control to a certain degree based on the amount of expenses and the amount of debt that we have to pay. And then our minor cap is controlled by the bond bill that comes out every year. So we enacted two match taxes last year, the technology and the reading interventionist. So this option one is keeping everything the same as it was last year. Meaning, so it would be no additional funds required from the taxpayer. Option two, it would be enacting all of the potential match taxes that we have there. And that would be an additional $34.33 on average to the taxpayer. Option 3 is adding the enhanced minor cap. And what we were able to do with option 3 is that we have enough in our debt reserve that because of scheduled bonds that are coming to an end, one ended this year and one ended next, and one is going to end next year, we could use this year to dip into that reserve just a little bit so that we could include this enhanced minor cap match this year without it being an increase to the taxpayer. So option 3 is, again, $0 increase to the taxpayer, but essentially it's shifting some money from our debt service to our enhanced minor cap to give us an additional $745,000 that we could use for leaks and other repairs that need to happen in the district. Then option 4 was taking out the 2 match taxes that we enacted last year and just having the 4 items that are required in our total tax rate there. That would be a decrease of $12.40.
Mr. Parker, did you have an option that you're recommending?
I'd recommend option 3.
That's what I thought. That's just in listening.
Right. I mean, it would have to be 1 or 3, I think, based on where we are in our environment with, the reassessment and the failed referendum. I think having an option next year where it does not increase anything to the taxpayer is probably the best way to go. And option 3 this year, with us having the opportunity because of that bond coming due next year and no apparent CN is going to be approved anytime soon, our debt service will continue to go down. So I think now might be a great opportunity to dip into that, to be able to use the enhanced minor cap funds, and again, without it being an additional dollar to any of our taxpayers.
I think at the committee meeting we discussed, we have about 4 or 5 of our schools approaching 100 years old.
Wow.
And and I know in old buildings, things break down. And, Dr. Parsons, just to kind of go along with something you said, I'm just kind of keeping an eye, just don't let me get wet. If we find that we have schools that have exuberant energy costs because of what we have equipment wise isn't working or is outdated, this might give us an opportunity to upgrade some of those things to get us in a more energy efficient.
Correct. Yeah, that would definitely be some spend that we would see come back to us at maybe not a 1-to-1 level, but it could reduce some of our energy costs if we got some more energy efficient things, or we got, better installation around some windows, or, I'm not the expert there. We'll let Joe handle all that. But yeah, if we had that money that he could definitely do some work with that. So
Not too long ago, we entered into an ESCO agreement, something with the energy.
Properly trained.
Yeah, we spent millions of dollars and they were guaranteeing to upgrade the energy, and it would save us a 10% guaranteed cost. So I believe someone's looking at that or upgrading that.
Mr. Dooley, are you analyzing that at a quarterly basis? When is that looked at, the ESCO agreement?
So we get a little support in an annual report from that company, Cyberlit Train. So, the results of that report aren't good.
So what report is this?
Sorry.
Oh, no, just what report is this?
So the program was an ESCO, it was an energy savings program that was put out in the state. I think there were 2 districts that did it, us being one. The other was not in it anymore. And isn't there a debt service that's attached to that?
Yes.
So the idea was that through legislation, they made monies available so that districts could upgrade energy related items. and that we would supposedly save money in the long term. But that program hasn't borne the savings that they said it was going to bear.
My understanding is if it did not save us 10%, that they would reimburse us the difference.
So
That was.
I don't know if that's true. I could look into that. We pay that company tens of thousands of dollars a year. That was
That's a-
part of that agreement.
And it was
That's an
a,
important part of the agreement.
it was
That-
a guarantee, and if we didn't save that, that they would reimburse us.
And I think, Jerry, Leaga, you guys were on the board at the time. So I was superintendent when we went through this. And those gentlemen would come in. I know they went through all the schools. They changed all the lighting. They put set points on the air conditioning, the heating, the whole
And then
nine
they said
yards.
some schools they couldn't do because they weren't compatible with whatever their system was. And some of us said, this is throwing good money after bad. We got sold the bill of goods that it was gonna be the best thing going, and as you see now, unless we look into it about at least that 10%, every time you ask it, it's not, it didn't serve its purpose.
I think it should be looked into, Joe. I mean, that was a big thing back, what, 5, 6, 7 years ago, when we first entered that
It's
agreement.
kind of like-
We would have signed a
it's been a
contract and
long
it would have
time.
been in the contract,
Right.
that guarantee.
It would
Yep.
be. But I remember the guarantee.
Yeah.
So Mr. Dewar, can you look into the contract, pull that contract, take a look at it? And at least with the three of us, talk to us, communicate with us, because we knew we were here when that was started. And again, that was a state initiative. That was a big time thing from the state because we were in a big energy crunch to save energy. So if the other district, I thought it was it Christina, or Rick Clay?
So I wasn't around then, and I'm not an expert on the history of how that evolved. My understanding is that there were two districts that did it, with us being one, and that other district is no longer in that agreement anymore.
So we're still in this agreement?
For, you know how many years?
It was 30, I
It was a
believe.
20-year agreement. We're in year 4.
Are we paying for something
Yeah, yes.
Big bucks.
every year? So
Yeah.
it sounds like we definitely need to look at this
Yeah.
contract and
I think we
agreement.
need full contract.
To get out of it, I think once we signed on that line that we were in, and if we did come out of it, there was a penalty on it, so I don't know. I know there was only 2 districts and we cringed.
And the other
Thinking somebody else
district is not in it anymore. Is that what you're saying,
That's
Jeff?
my understanding.
I wonder how they got out of it.
But why would we want to get out of it if it
get money.
guarantees a savings? And if it doesn't save us, they would reimburse us.
Be wonderful.
And I remember that, Jerry.
Yeah.
Now that you mentioned it, it's been a long time ago, but I remember that. But I think the best thing we can do right now is pull the contract, even maybe let Mr. McMacken look over the contract and look at our options to see where we are and what we can do.
And how much are we paying a year for this service?
Let me get a realistic number for you. I think it's around $35,000 a year.
A year.
Okay, I think we better bring this back to July committees if possible.
Please.
If you can do that, then let us know. Or, as soon as we can, so that we have some information on it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Any other questions about the tax rates?
Thank you very much, Mr. Parker.
Thank you all very much.
Ten point zero one, field trip request.
Yes, one field trip this evening for consideration, Sussex Central High School cheer, August 11th through 14th to Honesdale, PA, and that is funded through their internal fundraising.
I'll entertain a motion that we approve the field trip.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimous, 9-0. 10.02, use of facility request.
Use of Indian River High School's gym and auxiliary gym, September 12th through 13th. That is inclusive of a Sunday by Stratton Trained Wrestling Club, and their application for use is on file.
I'll entertain a motion that we approve the facility use request.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimous. Personnel 11.01 personnel agenda for June 22nd, 2026. I'll entertain a motion that we have approved the personnel agenda. With the exception of number 29.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimous.
Mr. Steele, I'd like to make a motion to approve number 29 on the personal agenda.
I have a motion on the floor to approve number 29. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
Hold the board, please.
Mrs. Briggs,
Yes.
Mr. Cathell, Mrs. Klein,
Yes.
Dr. Parsons.
Yes.
Mr. Peden,
Yes.
Mr. Steele,
Yes.
Ms. Taylor,
Yes.
Mrs. West Warner,
Yes.
Mrs. Wright.
Yes.
That's 8 yes, 0 no, and 1 abstention.
Motion passes majority vote. 11.03, I'll entertain a motion that we approve the contractual agenda for June 22nd.
So moved.
I have a motion. I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimous. 11.04, notification of retirements. We had 2 retirees, both long-term employees. And I just would like to say thank you for your service and all the work that has gone on in your careers. And I think we had a retirement recognition about a week and a half ago, and well attended and well received. So 11.05 constables.
Contractual. And do the contractual.
I didn't do the vote on it. Sorry. Let's go back. 11.03 contractual agenda. I'll entertain a motion that we approve the contractual agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Write stuff down too fast. 11.05 constables contract ratification. 11.06 is custodial contract ratification. These are going to be only discussional items. I think Mrs. Bunning is going to get information out to us a little bit more in detail before we actually take action on these two. Any questions? 12.01 student hearings, student number 26-901. Anyone would like to make a motion?
I make a motion that we uphold the hearing officer's recommendation.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor that we uphold the hearing officer's recommendation, and I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimous. 12.02 student number 26-116.
I'd like to make a motion to uphold the hearing officer's recommendation to the student.
Second.
I have a motion and a second on the floor to uphold the hearing officer's recommendation. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimous. We're now down to 13.01, second public comment session.
No one has signed up, excuse me, no one has signed up for the second session. Anyone wishing to provide public comment? Mr. Radatovich. Good evening.
Rick Radotovich from Frankfort, Delaware. Probably sick of hearing from me, but I want to be the voice of reason for the community. And I want to address the comments relative to teacher pay. I think everyone here agrees that teachers are very important and should be paid accurately and adequately. Just want to give you some statistics. This is from the NEA. So Delaware ranks 14th among the 50 states in average public school teacher pay. That's for the year 2024, 2025. Delaware average teacher salary is $77,000. That's up 7.6% from the prior year. That is the highest in the country.
The national average pay is $74,500 per year. So again, I want to put this in perspective. And in Indian River School System, average is about 4% higher than the state average. So we rank 15th in pay. Our performance is not in the top 15, more like the bottom 15. And coming from the business world where you pay for performance, I just think that's something the school board needs to be aware of. So the facts are important. And I think as more information comes available, we need to share that with you all so that when it comes time to make those decisions on tax increases, you guys have the full picture. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Anyone online, Mr. Mann?
No.
Thank you.
Okay, hearing no other public comments, 1401, I'll entertain a motion that we adjourn this evening's meeting.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Hi.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. We are adjourned.